watching ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
We are soaring into 2013 with a tremendous and traditional matchup in the Capital One Bowl. Two of the 5 bowlingest programs in the history of college football have turned Orlando into a sea of red and a sea of red and black. Here come the Bulldogs of Georgia getting set to take on Nebraska in an SEC Big Ten showdown. This is the Capital One Bowl on ABC from Orlando as we get set for this tremendous matchup between these two programs that have played only one time in history back in 1969 in the Sun Bowl. Aaron Murray and the 7th-ranked Bulldogs taking on number 16 Nebraska, both division winners in their respective conferences. Happy New Year, everybody, from our family to yours. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollack here. And it is fair to question the motivation of Georgia, the Bulldogs, an agonizing 5 yards away from playing for the national championship. We'll see how they fare against a Nebraska team that's very dynamic in the running game.
Nebraska features one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the entire country in Taylor Martinez. He is the best athlete on this offense because of his speed and his acceleration. And while he's become an improved passer this year, he's still the most dangerous when running the football. This highlight against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game was one of the highlights of the year. Makes 4 guys miss, and then you see the speed. He can hit 0 to 60 by his 3rd stride, one of the fastest players in all college football. This is a 132-yard rushing touchdown. It's important for Nebraska today. If they win this game, they have to be able to run it, which means Taylor Martinez is going to have success on the ground facing a Georgia defense that's given up 958 rushing yards in their last 3 games combined.
And if there's anybody suited to chase around Taylor Martinez, it would be Jarvis Jones.
Yeah, I mean, you look at all the talent on that side of the football for Georgia, but Jarvis Jones has been the big playmaker in the big ball games. Every time they've needed a big-time play against the number 2 Florida Gators, you see Jarvis Jones getting in the backfield, making tackles for a loss. If they get Nebraska today in 3rd and long, you'll see a lot of this. Nobody can block him one-on-one in passing situations, coming off the edge, humming. And my favorite part about this guy is he never stops. He's always in relentless pursuit of the football. He could have won a ton of awards. I know Te'o wiped them all out, but Jarvis Jones is a special player.
We have a tremendous matchup that we're looking forward to. The motivation of Georgia. You wonder about the psyche of Nebraska after being blown out by Wisconsin. Time for the toss of the coin. Let's join our PA announcer, Michael Caldwell.
Coming onto the field for the coin toss, representing Capital One, is Executive Vice President Mike Wassmer.
Okay, congratulations on being selected in this great bowl. I do want to introduce a couple of special people to you. Some real heroes of our country. Joel Dicus and Mike Burke are wounded warriors. Please say hello to them.
Retired Joe Dicus.
Okay, gentlemen, this is Mike Wassmer. He's our honorary coin toss gentleman. Georgia, you're the visitor. This is heads with the helmets. This is tails. This is tails. This is heads. What's your call? Tails. Tails. Tails is his call. If you would, Mike. It's heads, you won the toss. You want to defer. You want the football. Which end do you want to defend? You want to kick this way. Spin this way, gentlemen. Nebraska won the toss. Deferred their option to the second half. Georgia will receive.
Nebraska, you're watching ESPN on ABC, the Capital One Bowl.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Back back in Orlando, and aerial coverage of today's Capital One Bowl is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. From high above the stadium, the Florida Citrus Bowl Stadium, down on the field where the newlywed Samantha Ponder is working today. Hello, Sam. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Reese. Now, you guys have been talking about the talent on this Georgia defense, but they are without one potential first-round draft pick up front, and that would be John Jenkins, ruled academically ineligible, didn't make the trip. Talked to Coach Richt yesterday. He said he will be replaced by 6 guys, especially because he played 2 positions. At the nose guard position, he'll be replaced by Kwame Gathers, who will still get the same amount of snaps he did before, and sophomore Michael Thornton. And then he'll be replaced by 4 guys at the DN position. Guys, it takes a village to replace John Jenkins. He's lucky. A lot of talent on this Georgia defense. We'll see if they can get after a very mobile Taylor Martinez today.
Sam Jenkins pretty much makes up a village, 360 pounds of him, and Gathers is about the same size, but Mark Richt telling us yesterday they want to limit Gathers snaps to the typical number so that he'll be ready in the 4th quarter against this rushing attack that is in the top 10 in the country. Brett Maher is getting set to kick off for the Cornhuskers. He's had 54 touchbacks of his 89 kickoff today. A perfect afternoon for football. Mid-70s, a light breeze, the sun is out, and Malcolm Mitchell, a dangerous return man, is deep for the Dogs. We are underway in the 2013 Capital One Bowl, and it'll be another touchback for Maher, and the Dogs will take it on the 25-yard line. This offense that is very balanced, very diverse, and the only SEC quarterback ever with 3,000-yard passing seasons.
And Aaron Murray's accuracy is going to get tested here today. Nebraska on defense allows opposing quarterbacks to complete only 46% of their passes, by far the lowest percentage completion of any team in the country. A lot of small windows to throw into versus this Cornhuskers D.
Couple of tremendous freshman running backs for Georgia, and it's Keith Marshall who's on the field first rather than Todd Gurley. Marshall didn't get a lot of carries in the SEC championship game in a Nebraska defense which was gutted by Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. Stops Marshall for no gain. It'll be 2nd and 10. Our Capital One impact players for the Bulldogs. You'll see plenty of number 3, Todd Gurley, the other running back, Tavares King, a wide receiver, and on defense, Jarvis Jones and Alec Ogletree are dynamic guys who will make big impacts on Sunday. Marshall still in the backfield with Murray, who's looking at a 2nd and 10. Murray steps up, throwing deep, had a receiver out there, but he was double covered. He was looking for Rhett McGowan, and the Bulldogs now looking at a 3rd and 10.
There's an example of that pass defense from Nebraska. It's called a match zone concept. They always want to try and get double teams across the field, particularly deep downfield. That's why it's so hard to throw and do, even if you're the 2nd most efficient quarterback like Aaron Murray.
And I think the number one thing they did there, too, is that pass coverage gets better when you get pressure on a quarterback and make him step up.
On 3rd and 10, pressure, screen to Marshall. This is what they wanted to involve him in. It's a first down for the Dogs. The freshman is across the 45, up close to the 47. It's a pickup of 21 before Damian Stafford stopped him.
Georgia definitely wants to get their fast playmakers in space. Nebraska's struggled with that all year long. Great job running a screen. Now you have a linebacker trying to cover Keith Marshall, who's one of the fastest players on this Georgia team.
And now Aaron Murray is split out. Todd Gurley's into the game, and both running backs in the backfield for Mark Richt. Marshall has it again. Gurley's out there leading the way to block. And Marshall could have had a huge game, but he lost his footing as he was trying to turn the corner. Pickup of 1. Maybe Will Compton got a hand on him to trip him.
Make no mistake about it. Georgia wants to run the football. They have a decisive advantage up front, a much bigger offensive line that averages about 309 pounds per player, going against a smaller front 7 for Nebraska. They're going to try to impose their will.
Murray on the fade, had a man out there, and it's going to be pass interference. He was looking for Tavares King. Ciante Evans is over there on the side, and the Bulldogs are going to have a first down.
And that's why Georgia wants to run it. If they can run it, and then you get man-to-man coverage on the outside with Tavares King and Malcolm Mitchell, you can take shots, and they can run by these corners of Nebraska, and you see they have to hold Tavares King, but they have advantage at speed on the outside. If they run it, that's what they're going to get.
Pass interference. Defense, number 17. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So that was Evans, who starts at corner and then moves into the nickelback spot, but it was no match for King on that play.
Yeah, that's probably a good penalty to take. I mean, it looked like it was maybe incidental, but I'll tell you what, if King can stay on his feet, that might be 6. If you're a cornerback, you have to take that. It's not the National Football League, so you don't get at the spot of the foul. 15 yards and a first down.
A little diamond-looking package in the backfield to give Gurley some lead blocking, but Nebraska is there to step up. Making the hit was David Santos, the freshman linebacker they're very high on.
This is a record-setting offense for Georgia with respect to points. 484 this season. And to Davey's point, they'll throw it, they'll run it. They're so balanced. I think that's what makes them so difficult to stop.
And especially coming into this year, this was the question mark. Was this offense with a new offensive line? They've really gelled together, and Aaron Murray's put together a pretty good season.
Play action. Murray wanting to take a shot. Has a man out there, and it's picked off. P.J. Smith has it. Smith out across the 20, and the #1 pass defense in the country comes up with a turnover.
We talked about that zone match principles that Nebraska likes to use. Aaron Murray's going to try and fit a post throw in on this play. You got to be careful of the free safety right over here, getting back to the middle of the field and getting involved in this play. Murray never looks him off. That's an easy interception for Nebraska.
And Nebraska did a great job defensively. They flipped their safeties on the snap. It looked like Stafford was going to be the guy in coverage, and Smith ends up dropping back, and it kind of fooled Murray. Never even saw him.
So Smith gets his 3rd interception of the year. It's the 9th one thrown by Aaron Murray. Taylor Martinez takes the snap. Rex Burkhead in the backfield. Martinez will complete his first pass to Jamal Turner. Turner, a very short game, picked up a couple.
I think it's so critical for Nebraska in this game offensively. They're able to stay on schedule. They're not built to convert long 3rd downs throwing the football. They got to have success early.
Now Martinez wants to run it. He pump faked, and Georgia was there to stop him. No gain. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Kwame Gathers was there to stop him. Our Capital One impact players for the Huskers. Amir Abdullah, we have not seen him yet. Over 1,000 yards this year. Kenny Bell, the receiver, and on defense, Eric Martin and Will Compton are the lead playmakers for Bo Pelini's defense.
And this is where you see Georgia moving around, trying to disguise. And watch number 29, Jarvis Jones, at the bottom of your screen down here.
Ogletree is after Martinez, and Martinez fires, and that ball should have been caught. Quincy Anunwa would have had the first down, but couldn't hold on to it, and the Cornhuskers will have to punt.
You know, a big theme in this game, to your point, Davey. Where is Jarvis Jones lining up? Where is he coming from? How well can Nebraska protect Taylor Martinez? Something they really struggled in the Big Ten title game against Wisconsin.
Brett Maher is the place kicker and the punter for the Huskers. We've already seen him make the opening kickoff out of the end zone. He averages nearly 42 yards per punt. Malcolm Mitchell is standing at his own 35. Pressured, it's blocked. Georgia's going to recover it for a touchdown if they can corral it. They're after it. It's still loose, and now it is going to roll out of the back of the end zone, and it is going to be a safety. A missed opportunity for the Bulldogs to get a touchdown, but they'll take the 2. Justin Scott Wesley was the guy who had it right on his fingertips, and it squirted away. And that's a huge gain for Nebraska. That could have been much worse.
Well, the 2nd time in 2 big games, Georgia's gotten a huge block on special teams. You saw the blocked field goal for a score against Alabama in the SEC title game here. Defender just comes right through. Great effort.
And it was it looked like Sean Williams, number 36, comes in there, gets a big mid on it. And that's when you got to take your time. You've got so much time. The ball's in the end zone, just sitting there by yourself. It's cool. Just take it easy.
It's a country fumble. A country fumble. Scoot slide.
Capital One Bowl on ABC. Dogs by a deuce.
McGowan goes inside.
Already some fireworks. Georgia's thrown an interception, and then the Dogs blocked a Nebraska punt that squirted away from every Bulldog short of David Pollock and Herschel Walker trying to recover it in the end zone, out of the back of the end zone for a safety.
You see Sean Williams right here coming off the edge. There's some miscommunication between the 2 personal protectors for Nebraska. That's what allowed him to come in and get the block, and you have to be able to fall on this on the end zone. That's a squandered 5 points.
Yeah, I guess you look at it optimistically. You say, all right, we got 2 and we get the ball, and you got to take advantage of it. But yeah, you got to take your time, follow the football instead of playing whatever that game was they were playing right there.
And Brett Maher too looked as if he took an extra step in his punt, but credit him for getting back in the scrum and hustling and sort of knocking the thing free, making Georgia chase it some more, and it wound up being a safety instead of a touchdown.
There you go, Reese. Optimistic.
Maher, who just had his second punt block of his career, will kick off from his own 20-yard line. Malcolm Mitchell is the guy that the Bulldogs would like to handle it. Maher hammered that thing, and Mitchell gets it at his 5. And he is drilled before he gets to the 20. A tremendous kick by Maher, and an even better job of coverage by Charles Jackson.
A lot of people wondered what the motivation would be for these two teams after losing conference title games, but special teams come to play.
How about it? We got a big hit. We didn't get a flag, for goodness sakes. Let's watch some football. Happy New Year.
The tradition of both of these teams, historically hard-hitting, tough, hard-nosed teams. Certainly, we talked about Georgia's motivation. I think the question for Nebraska is the psyche after being beaten by Wisconsin 70-31 in the Big Ten championship game, allowing 539 yards rushing. In the early going, they've done a pretty good job against the Georgia running game. Todd Gurley. Short game, picked up maybe a couple. David Santos on the tackle as we check in with Robert Flores.
Hey, recent update for the Outback Bowl. South Carolina and Michigan. Connor Shaw, he had a look at his ball plays before the game. Demir Berg, 56 yards from Shaw in South Carolina, leading Michigan 7-0.
And Gurley gets across the 25, the South Carolina-Michigan game that's on ESPN, part of a number of Big Ten SEC matchups, including ours today.
Did you just mention big hit, Reese?
I did.
How about putting a guy on the end of the line of scrimmage and bringing him down and cracking back on a defensive end?
That's what you got to do to those defensive ends, Paul. You know that? You know, we got to make sure you guys keep your head on a swivel.
And it's always tough because you can't see those guys. They just come flying in last second, but
he'll be looking for it now.
Physical, you better be. Start putting that head on a swivel.
3rd down and 3 for the Dogs. Murray to Gurley. Gurley makes one miss. He's got to get to the 30 for the first down, and the strong freshman, all 230 pounds of him, works his way, picking up the first down.
And that's the matchup. I think that's what you see from Georgia. You haven't seen them throw the ball to their backs this year a lot, but when you can get Gurley and Marshall in space on linebackers for Nebraska that don't tackle exceptionally well, you definitely want to get it to them.
The offense, under the direction of Mike Bobo, has set several school records, yards, points, and touchdowns scored. Murray has been prolific as Gurley picks up a couple, and Gershel, as they call the two running backs, Todd Gurley and Keith Marshall, have really provided a nice running game complement for Aaron Murray in the passing game. You see what these two running backs have done in their first year.
A lot of people thought after losing 3 offensive linemen last year and losing Isaiah Crowell, who was dismissed from the team, the SEC Freshman of the Year at running back, they may not be as good of a running team this year, where Gershel has proven that wrong. They've been unbelievable as first-year players.
Crowell was a good freshman. These two guys are just flat good. Especially 3. 4's not bad either, though. They're both really talented guys. Murray was getting some heat from behind, and he threw low trying to get it to Marshall.
Another example of the match zone principles played by Nebraska, coached by head coach Bo Pelini and defensive coordinator John Kabuchis. They're always going to try and get 2 players over top of 1 receiver to one side. They got 4 defenders over top of 3 receivers at the top of the screen. Doing a nice job getting pressure right now a little bit on Aaron Murray, too, forcing him to get the football out of his hands quicker than he'd like.
Now a 3rd down. Georgia's been a little over 45%. That's top 35 in the country. Heat coming on Murray. Georgia does a great job picking it up. Now Murray throws it out there, and did he make the catch? There's a flag coming in. It was Justin Scott Wesley, the guy who couldn't recover the block punt in the end zone, but he picks this one off the turf, it appears.
I think Keith Marshall at running back, one of those great true freshmen we were just talking about, allowed this play to happen with a great blitz pickup.
pass interference. Defense, number 17. That penalty's declined. The result of the play is a first down.
By the way, that's the second pass interference call on Evans in the pass pro that you were talking about from the freshman.
So Nebraska decides to bring heat. Watch this right here. You want to talk about stepping up in the hole and hitting somebody. Bam. You just get a stymie.
That's the little running back.
Yeah, well, he's 220 pounds.
Yeah,
the little running
the littler running back.
That's right.
Marshall showing a little shake and picking up a first down. And he's pushed out of bounds by P.J. Smith. Marshall gets a dozen. Now, they wanted to use him a little bit more. Didn't use him as much in the game against Alabama as Gurley sort of carried the load. But this is a good 1-2 punch. These guys have been friends since they were high school players.
It's a nice mix, but regardless of who has the football, Nebraska has to do a better job tackling in space. They've already missed a couple key tackles on critical downs in this game.
All right, here's the wrinkle that Mike Bobo's putting in. Direct snap of the Wildcat to Marshall. Not much doing as he gets inside the 30. Picked up a couple.
And Marshall was the more highly recruited kid. I mean, he was the one that everybody was talking about, all the recruiting services. Both those guys were rated high coming out of North Carolina. Marshall has that home run speed.
Yeah.
Gurley was looked at as a bigger back, maybe a guy that would play defense, but I think he's proven that he's, with his balance and his vision and his explosion, he can play offense pretty well, too. He might can play safety, too. I don't know.
Marshall still in, getting a lot of the work in the early going. Murray, and it goes through Justin Scott Wesley's hands. So Justin basically is 1 for 3. He made a great catch on the side to help this drive earlier. Couldn't corral the punt and should have caught that pass.
I just want to go back to a theme again that we'll be keeping watch on in this game. Nebraska tackling in space. They have to be able to tackle. And that sounds elementary, but if you look at their 10 wins this year, Nebraska tackled well on defense. In their 3 losses, they simply didn't.
The Dogs have converted a couple of times on third down. This drive, they're 3 for 3 on the day. And they're now 4 for 4. Running is Arthur Lynch, headed to the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia. "29 yards to the tight end, his 3rd touchdown catch of the year."
Offensive coordinator Mike Bobo from Georgia just dialing up some crossing routes inside. You're going to see Arthur Lynch right here at tight end coming across the field. They got more action coming this way, and the defense just loses the tight end over the middle of the field.
Well, Nebraska's definitely showing that they're playing man-to-man. You saw the wide receivers cross and actually get a good pick, but listen, for Georgia, you saw Michael Bennett tear his ACL. You saw Marlon Brown tear his ACL. Somebody needed to step up. Mr. Lynch has done so down the stretch of the season.
10 plays, 80 yards. Aaron Murray to Arthur Lynch. Dogs up 9-0. You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC. We are seeing some spectacular views of the game today, courtesy of the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. Pretty good picture for Big Arthur Lynch. Lynch, who rumbles into the end zone for the first touchdown of the day, put Georgia up 9-0. The Ultimate Picture Cam. An ultimate moment here. The opening day of 2013. Hope you had a great New Year's Eve and a great New Year's morning. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, Samantha Ponder with you on a perfect day from Orlando. Marshall Morgan puts his foot into it and drives Nebraska into the end zone. Huskers will start on the 25 as we go down to Sam.
Yeah, Reese, I happened to be standing behind Jarvis Jones when he started telling his athletic trainer that he was having a problem with the back of his upper right leg. They started stretching it out. He got on the bike, and then he looked over at me and he said, "Hey, Sam, tell ESPN that I didn't know we were playing on turf. I thought it would be grass." So, Reese, since you essentially are ESPN, I'm telling you, the guy thought he was playing on grass.
Duly noted. I saw Jarvis yesterday. I should have mentioned to him to make sure he had the turf shoes.
The right cleats?
Maybe so.
So he might get 3 sacks now instead of 6.
Weren't you here for a week? And you did warm-ups too, man. Come on.
Rex Burkhead playing his final game as a Husker. The academic All-American is going to pick up 3. Jarvis Jones has been a tremendous pass rusher for the Dogs, and today, if he can get 2 sacks and a couple of tackles for loss, he will take old 47, David Pollock, off the top page in the Georgia record book.
I'll tell you what, if Georgia keeps stopping him on 1st and 2nd down, he's going to have his chance. Don't you think, Davey?
He keeps scoring, too.
Burkhead. Bounce to the outside. Rex has some room. He gets across the 40. Bakari Rambo hopped aboard and took a little ride. They pick up a 21 for Rex.
Rex Burkhead is a great story this year. Was a first-team all-conference selection last year. Hurt his left knee in the first game of the season. Was forced to miss 6 games. Really has battled through the injury, showing tremendous toughness, tremendous leadership, and a great talent on this offense.
All the great running backs they've had at Nebraska. Burkhead is 5th in the all-time rush list. Had he not been hurt, he'd have a chance to get to 2nd. Amir Abdullah, who ran for more than 1,000 yards while spelling Burkhead and carrying the load, picks up 11.
Well, it's not spelling. I mean, if you're talking Burkhead being a 1, he's a 1A. I mean, or it might be flipped because Abdullah, he can fly. He's got some jets. He's a little bit littler in stature, but he packs a punch. That man can hit a home run every time he touches it.
Now Nebraska showing some exotic formations before shifting into something more traditional with Abdullah in the backfield. Amir, that's down behind his offensive line. Picks up 3.
You just wonder, guys, if Nebraska on offense doesn't feel disrespected coming into this game. For weeks now, they've been asked, how are you going to move the ball against an SEC defense with so much NFL talent? You know, Nebraska was the best total offense in the Big Ten. They've seen good defenses in Michigan State. They probably want to make a little bit of a statement here today.
These guys, too, remember over the last 4 years, they played not only the Big Ten championship game this year, played the Big 12 championship game a couple of times. Shovel pass to Burkhead. He's got the first down. Still on his feet and getting close to the 20-yard line. A pickup of 16 for Rex.
And this offense has gotten better and taken that next step because of Taylor Martinez and his development and his ability to stand in the pocket and be more patient and to develop his mechanics. They had Burkhead last year. They could run last year, but he's really taken this offense to the next level with his arm.
Braylon Hurd is into the game. Burkhead still lined up tail. Abdullah also in there, so a lot of guys that can carry the mail. Taylor Martinez keeps it. He can certainly do it as he gets down to the 14-yard line. Pickup of 7 for T-Magic.
And when you have a quarterback that can run these option plays, it just puts you in a bind. You look at the defensive end of the right of your screen, he's like, do I go outside? Do I go inside? You see, he takes the back coming across the formation, and the quarterback has a lane to run up right at the middle. It's an offense that makes you go, wait, I have to be patient, instead of attack like you like to as a defensive lineman.
Georgia showing pressure from Swan. Burkhead was bluffing. Play clock's getting close to see if Taylor's going to be able to get it off. He does. Martinez. Jones was after him. Fired to the end zone. Touchdown, Nebraska. It's Jamal Turner. How about that answer from the Cornhuskers?
Nice patience by Taylor Martinez. Off of the play action. Looking over the middle of the field, obviously Mark Richt on the sideline, very, very upset about something.
Bakari Rambo beaten, so Nebraska answers the 80-yard touchdown drive by the Dogs with a 75-yarder of their own, and Rhett Maher trying to make it 9-7, and he does. These two teams have met only once. 1969 Sun Bowl. It was a Husker blowout. We might have a barn burner in Orlando. Taylor Martinez to Turner. You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Nebraska just finished off a 75-yard scoring drive in which they never faced a third down. Taylor Martinez found Jamal Turner, and on the touchdown play, Mark Richt is pretty upset. The only thing we can find is maybe thought they didn't get the snap off. Should have been a delay of game.
They're trying to hit Turner here on the post. Watch Damian Swan, though, in the slot. He kind of gets confused. He's looking behind himself to try to get the defense set, but he never redirects or reroutes the wide receiver, never gets his hands on him, gets spun around. That's just too easy. That's pitch and catch for Nebraska. You got to wonder if Mark Richt was angry because he felt maybe they didn't get the play off on time.
That's the only thing we've seen.
Yeah.
We watched back in the break to try to see if there was something else maybe that Mark upset with the officials. At any rate, Richard Samuel was back to return the kickoff for the Bulldogs. He's going to watch it go through the end zone. It'll be Georgia's ball on the 25. So let's have another look at that touchdown play and see if perhaps with the clocks, whether they got the snap off in time. Well, that's not going to show us. We still have 25 on the play clock there, but we were watching it live. It got close to 0, and Martinez was in a hurry and slapping his hands vigorously to call for the snap, and the officials judged they got it off. And as a result, now the Bulldogs, after jumping on top 9-0, have had the Huskers answer. See what Aaron Murray can do. Marshall. Give him 3.
What you're seeing from Nebraska up front, because they're a little bit undersized, they're slanting and moving around, not trying to be stationary targets for these Georgia offensive line to tee off on.
Nebraska is thin up front. Georgia's going a little tempo on him. They're trying to set a screen, and it's picked off! Picked off by Will Compton. He'll take it to the house. Touchdown, Nebraska!
The second time in this game, Georgia tries to dial up the middle screen to the running back coming out of the backfield. They caught Nebraska in a blitz the first time. Here's Compton right here in the middle of the field. He doesn't get fooled. He stays home. He watches the running back's tracks. Wow, and he beats the football there.
Brett McGowan comes in motion. He has to knock him off the track. He's trying to hit Compton, but look at that.
And Marshall went to the ground. He went to the ground, which the play wasn't going anywhere because of Compton, but when Marshall went to the ground, Compton made sure it went somewhere for the Big Red thrashing machine. 2 interceptions for the nation's top-ranked pass defense, and Nebraska, which has made a habit this year of falling in a hole and then rallying for victory, instead has punched the Dogs right in the kisser early. The pass defense and the play by Will Compton. The Huskers have a 14-9 lead. You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Bowl coverage starting at 4:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. Wisconsin and Stanford. Barry Alvarez making a return to the sideline. A one-game engagement only. Brett Bielema guided the Badgers to the Big Ten championship and then left for Arkansas. Gary Anderson's going to take over on a full-time basis, but Barry, a little experience in those Rose Bowls, going to try to win another one.
If you like physical football, then this is the game you have to watch this bowl season. 2 teams that love running it down the other defense's throat.
And if you're a player, there's no running and hiding. If you don't want to be physical, if you're looking at something else besides the guy in front of you in that game, you're in trouble.
In the next few days, both Stanford and Oregon are going to have to sort of carry the banner of the Pac-12. I know Arizona and Arizona State won their bowl games. Arizona by miraculous fashion. Yep. Last few days haven't been good to the Pac-12 in bowl games with SC, UCLA, Oregon State all falling as Brett Maher gets set to kick it off. This potentially could be a very good day for the Big Ten against the SEC. Nebraska has the lead here. Northwestern had a lead at halftime against Mississippi State. South Carolina and Michigan playing as well. Georgia's not getting much of a chance to return kickoffs. As Richard Samuel watches it fly over his head, Dogs will start on the 25. So in the first quarter already, Nebraska has taken advantage of a couple of Georgia turnovers. Aaron Murray's thrown 2 interceptions. The second one to Will Compton a few moments ago was horrific.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Murray takes a lot of pride in how well he knows this offense and the preparation leading up to games. He's going to have to get that fixed right now, dial back in and avoid and eliminate those mental mistakes.
Yeah, and Georgia blocks a punt, gets the momentum early, and then goes down the field, scores a touchdown, and Nebraska answers with 14 straight points, just like they've done all year. This has been a team that's gotten down, and every single time they fight back.
Murray. We'll take a home run shot. Tavares King's out there, and King has it. Touchdown, Georgia, 75 yards. Andrew Green was the guy who was beaten. P.J. Smith was back there with him, and King beat them both for the score.
It looked like at the start of this play, Nebraska had everything doubled deep down the field. You're going to see they're going to run a deep post with Tavares King at the top of the screen, and then they're going to try to undercut it. And the undercut affects the field safety, Damian Stafford. Watch here. He's got his eyes on it, and that opens up the post up top. Beautiful catch by King.
Morgan puts through the extra point. That was the longest pass play of the year by Georgia. And Nebraska leads the nation, allowing the fewest number of pass plays of longer than 40 yards. But, boy, they just gave up a big one there of 75 as the Dogs go back on top.
Watch Tavares King use his speed to get away, but watch his patience not showing his hands until the ball gets all the way to him. As a defensive guy, as soon as you see the receiver go to reach for the football, then you try to rake it through the arms. He does a great job of waiting for it. Now listen, Nebraska misses and whiffs, but Tavares King, good job using his body, shielding the defender, and waiting for the ball to get right to him.
Randy Moss was the best I ever played against and saw do that. He was unbelievable at doing that.
When you have a term, you've been mossed.
Yeah.
When you grow up hearing that term, you're pretty good.
And how about Aaron Murray, guys, bouncing back right away on the first play after throwing a pick six. Tremendous job by Georgia's junior quarterback.
Hey, fellas, this is only the first quarter.
Got some points.
We're going back and forth here. 16-14. Amir Abdullah and Kenny Bell deep to receive the kickoff for the Cornhuskers. Abdullah in his end zone. Bell wanted him to stay in. Amir didn't want to, and he's going to wish he had. He got hit, bent double back. Didn't make it out to the 15-yard line. Blake Sailors was the first guy to get him. Let's take a minute and check in with Robert Flores.
All right, Reese, another Big Ten SEC matchup in the Outback Bowl. South Carolina and Michigan on ESPN. Ace Sanders, 63 yards. Beats the punter, who I think is wearing a single-bar face mask. I thought they had outlawed that, but I don't know. South Carolina leading 14-3 into the first quarter.
Robert, I'm all for punters and kickers wearing single-bar face masks.
It always reminds me of Kevin Butler from the Bears.
And Georgia.
Yeah. And Georgia as well.
It's been outlawed in the NFL, the single-bar face mask. I don't think you see much of it. Martinez going to throw. He's got a man wide open down the middle. It's Ben Cotton, the tight end. Cotton into Georgia territory, and look at Ben smartly wrap up the football as he's tackled at about the 31-yard line, a 56-yard gain.
Here's a reason and an example why this Nebraska offense is so unique. You're going to see a lineman pull all the way out here. They fake this, and there's a big area right over the middle of the field. As a defense, you're watching linemen pull. You don't know where the football's going. So many different places the ball can be at the same time. Well, that's what allows Ben Cotton so
wide open. And the safety, Sean Williams, comes up because he's playing the run because of the pulling guy, and then you see the space right behind him for the big play.
Burkhead flanked out. Martinez gets hit by Jarvis Jones, but doesn't go down, and Taylor scampers around and maybe picked up half a yard.
Now, we talked about reading and reacting and having to play patient. Jarvis Jones said, forget that crap. I'm just going to go in there and blow up the mesh point. I don't care who I got. I'm going to get both of them. He takes care of three guys on that play. Makes it really easy for everybody else.
I think it's what makes this offense so unique, guys. It's all the pulling linemen. It's the play fakes, all the different ways they run zone reads, and they can throw it. Let's remember, Georgia has never seen an offense like this year.
Something both Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, and Bo Pelini said, Georgia hasn't seen anything like us. Martinez being chased, and he'll go to the ground. That is Jarvis Jones getting the tackle for loss.
Tremendous
give it a sack on the scramble.
Tremendous job by Georgia on coverage. You're going to look downfield here. Nothing open for Taylor Martinez, which forces him to run this football. All receivers downfield covered. And right now, if I'm Taylor Martinez on the scramble, with your wheels, go and try to get as much as you can. The reason you pull up right here, I don't know why.
Well, why don't you throw it out of bounds and not lose 3 yards? That's the only thing.
Or just keep running out of bounds.
Yeah. But you still lose a couple yards. If you throw it, you don't lose any yards.
I guess the tackle for loss to tie the record, sort of like the Favre Strahan sack. On 3rd and 13, Martinez being chased again, throws it, and along the sideline is Cotton, who did a great job keeping his feet in bounds. Cotton, who had the 56-yard reception earlier, he picks up 13 on 3rd and 13, and they're moving the chains for the first down.
His foot was out of bounds. It looked like.
Oh, I see.
Right
Good
before
call,
he
Davey.
caught it.
His right foot.
But does he get his feet back in and reestablish his position? But it looked like his right foot was out of bounds when he was approaching the ball.
Nebraska snaps it. Ogletree just swarms over Burkhead. He lost one.
We've talked a lot about Jarvis Jones and his NFL potential. What about Alec Ogletree? A converted safety, now playing what they call the money linebacker.
He's going to make some money soon.
He's about to make a lot of money. 6'3", 230 pounds. He can cover. He's got great speed, can play downhill. He's another guy you have to account for.
And one of those guys that the reason the defense sputtered for Georgia early, he was suspended for the first 4 games once he got back.
Burkhead, man again. Sanders Cummings hitting. And flags are coming in late, maybe a little extracurricular. If we were worried about the juices flowing for these two teams, the first quarter's taking care of that.
Yeah. I'm fine with the juices flowing, but Mr. Cotton there, that's what you call not a smart play. You're talking about you're in a good situation, and 2nd and long, you're almost in field goal range, and you come over there and just destroy somebody.
Play, personal foul, late hit, offense number 68. That 15-yard penalty being forced, and it'll be 3rd down.
Now, you think it's bad that Bo Pelini, the head coach, is going to yell at you about this, but Jake has another problem, and it might be a bigger one. His dad, offensive line coach Barney Cotton, is going to be up in his kitchen pretty soon.
So you're getting yelled at by your head coach, your dad, and your 2 brothers who play tight end in Ben and Sam. The whole family's mad at him.
Oh, boy. Jake's ears going to be ringing about that one for a while. Shovel pass inside Jarvis Jones. Burkhead. A good pickup, but had a long, long way to go on 3rd down. They get it down to the 30.
But a tremendous play call, because now you give your kicker an opportunity to make this. And Maher's long of the year is 54. He was the best kicker in the Big Ten Conference this year.
But I also think it's tremendous of where you ran that play.
Yeah.
You ran a shovel pass at Jarvis Jones. That way you don't have to block him. You let him use his athletic ability to get upfield, run a shovel pass behind him, and pick up a bunch of free yards.
That's what Chip Kelly or Lou Holtz or anybody that ran the option. If you can't block them, read them.
Yeah, absolutely.
A 47-yard field goal attempt from Maher. Low snap, a little trouble getting it down. And as a result, Brett doesn't quite get it there. It's no good.
The second big special teams blunder in this game from Nebraska. They had the punt blocked early. Fortunately, only cost them a safety. On this play here, looks as though the snap is a good snap.
Yeah,
but just not fielded well by Jace Dane.
It was a little bit inside, and you can tell it took him a second to get it down. The kicker had to slow down. But the reason this field goal is so long is because of the personal foul. If Cotton doesn't wipe out a guy late, then it's 15 yards closer. The kick becomes easier. You don't have to put that much leg into it. The timing is not as important. So you shot yourself in the foot when you had an opportunity.
The Dogs are going to take over on the 30, leading 16-14 late in the first quarter, and Todd Gurley is drilled in the backfield. That's Eric Martin, senior from Reno Valley, California.
Eric Martin is undersized as a defensive end. You're going to see him right here on the very end of the outside. Only 250 pounds, but tremendous speed and quickness, able to get into the backfield.
If the Dogs get another snap before the end of the quarter, they do. Murray, second straight negative play. This time it's Cameron Meredith, the senior from Huntington Beach, California. A loss of 6, and the Dogs have thrown it in reverse here at the end of the first quarter. An eventful first quarter. Long touchdown passes, blocked punts, explosive runs, Georgia leading 16-14. The Capital One Bowl will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Hi, I'm Taylor Martinez. Just want to say Happy New Year's to everyone in California and the people back in Lincoln. And go Huskers.
Hey everyone, it's Aaron Murray. Just want to wish everyone back home in Tampa and in Athens a Happy New Year.
And as we start the second quarter in Orlando, we echo the sentiments of the two quarterbacks. Georgia with a 16-14 lead on Nebraska. You might have enjoyed some fireworks perhaps last night on New Year's Eve, but we've continued it into the first quarter of the Capital One Bowl. We are on pace for a 1,300-yard day. That's right, your wheelhouse, Palmer.
That's what I'm talking about now.
Georgia, though, looking at a 3rd and 18. The Nebraska defense has kept the Dogs from running so far. Murray fires it right off the feet of Rhett McGowan. Kick save in a beauty from McGowan, but the Dogs will have to punt it away.
Nebraska's front seven set up this punt. You had Eric Martin make a tackle in the backfield on the first play. Cameron Meredith gets the sack on the second. Continuing all of that movement, showing tremendous flash up front, giving Georgia issues on their offensive line.
Georgia's freshman punter Colin Barber from Cartersville set to kick it away to Jamal Turner. Turner, who caught a touchdown pass from Taylor Martinez in the first quarter. No rush from the Huskers. Turner from his 31. Looking for running room, and he gets it right up the midfield. A very good return. There is a flag that is sitting at the 43-yard line. 46-yard punt, an 18-yard return, but we'll check on the flag.
During the kick, holding on the return team, number 12. That penalty we enforced 10 yards from the end of the kick, first down.
Mike DeFee from Big 12, our referee today. Holding call will hurt the Huskers' field position just a little bit. It was an eventful first quarter. Georgia blocked a punt early, should have been recovered for a touchdown, scored it away from about 15 Dogs in the end zone, went for a safety. Aaron Murray then hit Arthur Lynch for a touchdown pass. Nebraska answered with a couple of scores, and right after the pick six that Murray threw, the very next pass he threw was a 75-yarder to Tavares King, and that's where we stand right now.
Nebraska's playing hard. I understand they've given up 16 points so far in this game, but I think you look on both sides of the ball, tremendous effort right now from Bo Pelini, and that was a big question coming in. What would the motivation be after the way they lost the Big Ten title game?
Amir Abdullah didn't pick up much. It'll be second down and 10. Nebraska starting deep in his own territory. So with those hidden yards right there, they lose 29 yards on the exchange because of the punt. Nebraska going in a little tempo. Draw to Abdullah. The guy they call Mighty Mouse. He's a small guy, but very strong. Spins his way for 6 yards. It'll be third down.
And on the same end, too, is the motivation on the other side for this Georgia defense. The last time everybody saw them, 350 yards rushing to Alabama. I mean, a lot to come in here and prove that you can stop a high-powered rushing attack in college football. They've been talked about for a lot of weeks about how bad they were in that championship game.
And because of the way that game ended, that was overshadowed a little bit the fact that this defense with all the NFL talent on it's last in the SEC in rush defense and got gashed by the Tide running game as Martinez fits in a nice throw on the slant to Turner and picks up 6 and moves the chains. It'll be first and 10 for Nebraska. We've talked a lot about motivation. It's a fact of life in the bowl season. If you're on the other side of it, people don't like to hear it, but you wondered about Georgia's motivation. I wondered more about Nebraska's psyche, and they appear to be the picture of health mentally.
You lose 70-31. You gave up 539 rushing yards. That was embarrassing.
Burkhead trying to turn the corner. Embarrassing's one word. This morning in the hotel, I had a Nebraska fan tell me he went
to the end of the hyperbole chain, the most embarrassing loss in the history of the program.
Yeah, and time heals. We wonder what their enthusiasm would be like. And the coaches told us first couple days back in practice it was a little bit somber, but they kind of regained that enthusiasm, and it looks like they have it right now playing in this game.
Well, especially because they also told us they laid out a plan for going to the Rose Bowl and how they were going to accomplish it. And then that plan goes and gets wiped out. And now you have to find a way to refocus, and especially then you get down 9-0, and your psyche's still involved, and you've done a good job rebounding.
Burkhead driving his way through the Georgia defense and across the 45, and Rex in his last game wearing the red and white running cup picks up a dozen.
Rex Burkhead is so much better this year at being a decisive runner. Only had 29 runs last year of 10 yards or more. When he sees a hole now, he hits it, and he shows you that physicality.
Martinez keeps it. And Nebraska fans sort of let out a little rise. They wanted a face mask of Marlo Herrera.
First of all, watch Damian Swain come off the edge of corner, but look at the face mask, see if Herrera gets it. First of all, it's a face mask by Taylor Martinez. They never call offensive face mask, but great job that time by Swain playing the option, taking away the pitch, making Martinez run the football and letting his help come.
Martinez rolling it out. He throws a pick. Picked off by Swan. He's into Nebraska territory, and he runs out of bounds, and Taylor Martinez turns the football over. He's had trouble with fumbles this year. This time throws an interception.
This is a bad decision by Taylor Martinez. He gets way too greedy. They're just trying to run a smash concept. This is the throw he should take. It's open the entire time, but Taylor Martinez is trying to force this football downfield. Just throw the underneath ball, take a completion, and keep playing.
We see Swan making the nice hands grab. Having a convoy of blockers and celebrating. Now there is a Bulldog still down after the play. He's on the near side of the field, just down below us at about the 40-yard line. Haven't been able to pick up his number just yet.
Looks like Bakari Rambo, number 18, but
it is indeed Rambo. We will check on his status as the fine defensive back for the Bulldogs when you come back to the Capital One Bowl on ABC. All season long, the DirecTV drive to the national championship bus has been on the road following the biggest stories in college football. TJ pulling in to the most magical place on earth, at least close by, here at the Capital One Bowl for Georgia and Nebraska. That bus has given us access to the great stories in college football all year. Well, I'm not sure big old hairy dog in a hula skirt or whatever that is necessarily the story we want to see. Taylor Martinez just threw an interception, his 11th of the season. And Georgia has his best starting field position of the day at the Nebraska 38, up 16-14. Murray. Deep for Rantavius Wooten, and just out of his grasp.
And I think everybody always gets sick and tired of talking about sudden change and taking a shot because you wonder why it has an effect. But when you're a defense, you're on the sideline, your offense is going to work. You're just chilling. You're drinking Gatorade. And then all of a sudden you have to go back on the field, and sometimes, you know, your helmet's not buckled in and you're not ready to rock and roll, and you see people take shots on you.
It could be demoralizing, too. I mean, that's why offensive play callers like to call that.
Todd Gurley gets inside the 35. That dive by Wooten, part of the Ultimate Picture Cam, brought to you by DirecTV. Are you guys surprised? I know it's early. We've played a little over a quarter. Georgia really hasn't had a lot of success running the football yet.
That's the key. We talked about Nebraska having to stop the run. You go back, you take a look. In their 10 wins, they give up only 128 rushing yards a game, 3 losses, 418. So far today, they've done very well tackling these Georgia running backs.
3rd and 6. Murray on the quarterback draw. Aaron's going to have the first down. First down, get down.
How about that play call by Mike Bobo? We know Taylor Martinez can run. We didn't really think Aaron Murray was as good a runner either. But a tremendous play call on a giant third down, anticipating a big zone defense. It's the best time to call the quarterback draw.
This time they'll move Murray out to the top of your screen at flanker and snap it to Todd Gurley. Big Gurley out of the Wildcat. Now there's some success running. Touchdown, Dogs. 24 yards, missing by just a hair. Gurley and Marshall had 8 touchdown runs of 25 yards or longer this year, so another explosive play in the running game.
You're going to see a lot of misdirection coming this way, forcing flow from the defense, creating a big seam this way for Todd Gurley. You know, you knew they were going to do this coming into the game. Wisconsin had a lot of success in the Big Ten title game using their Wildcat packages. Mike Bobo, Georgia showing you theirs.
The extra point puts it through, the interception leading to a Georgia touchdown. And while it seems that the Nebraska defense has played much better because they've created some negative plays,
they're on pace.
Dogs still have 23 points on the board. We've got 10 and change left to go in the first half. You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Well, both teams have had a really good time in Orlando this week. Nebraska here for the second year in a row. They played South Carolina in the Capital One Bowl last year. You see Todd Gurley, the freshman who just scored a touchdown. This is such a good bowl experience for the teams. Nebraska eager to come back for a second straight year, not only because of the bowl experience, but the opportunity to play the highest-ranked team they could, beating the Bulldogs. Right now, Georgia has a 23-14 lead. Amir Abdullah, small Turner back. That's Abdullah. Got great speed. Runs over man and gets across the 30. A good return from Amir at 31-yarders. We check in with Robert Flores.
All right. Checking in on the Outback Bowl, South Carolina and Michigan. Dylan Thomas to Nick Jones, 70 yards, and that set up a touchdown pass from Thomas to Sanders. And right now, South Carolina leading Michigan 21-10 in the Outback Bowl.
Dylan Thompson.
All right, Robert, so the SEC with the lead there. The SEC with the lead here on a couple of Big Ten teams. Now, see if Nebraska can answer. Last time the Huskers had it, Martinez threw an interception. Back to the ground to Rex Burkhead. Burkhead is tackled in the backfield by Jarvis Jones, but there is a flag.
A lot of times when you're getting blocked, you got somebody hanging on to you, try to get skinny, it's hard to reach out and grab anything. And you see Jarvis reach out and grab a face full of face mask. It's definitely a good call and definitely a personal foul.
You see on that play, though, just how hard Jarvis Jones is to block, how slippery he is. I think one of the things he's done better this year, better with his hands, getting off of blocks.
Back to Burkhead. Burkhead finding the corner. He's got a first down. And Ogletree and Rambo run him out of bounds. And Rambo didn't pull off quickly enough. A 20-yard run for Burkhead. And he's going to get a little bit more with the late hit.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Defense number 18. That 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the run. First down.
David, with all of this talent on the Georgia defense, why do they have such a hard time controlling a running game?
I don't know. I mean, I think when you look at it, they have talent, they have guys that can run, but a lot of times you see guys that are in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Or, you know, there's an unblocked defender that you want to push the ball to, and they don't do it. So they just got to make sure that they stay in their gaps and don't try to make too many plays.
Martinez firing for the end zone. Cotton was out there, and he couldn't turn around and grab it, it'll be 2nd and 10.
I think one issue, too, guys, that Georgia has against the run, they don't have a lot of depth up front on the defensive line. And we saw that in the Alabama game. They had to play their starters for most of the game, got worn out. In this game tonight, no John Jenkins at nose guard. Avery Jones, a guy they were hopeful could come back and get some snaps at defensive end, not expected to go. So, you know, the depth is an issue, too. And one thing we got to watch in this game, do they get worn out? Do they get fatigued like they have late in the season?
The misdirection of the Nebraska running game a challenge as well, but Martinez going to pass it this time as he decides to take off as he is wont to do. T-Magic still on his feet, throwing to a wide open receiver, and he had a man in the end zone, Jamal Turner, and he missed him.
This is kind of the good and the bad of Taylor Martinez. Second time he's had a receiver wide open. Quincy Enunwa is just going to run a spot right. He's open right now. He needs to get the football. Now, Taylor Martinez's magic is extending plays, and here he's almost able to create a touchdown, just an inaccurate throw.
Hey, and you talk about a defensive line and not having depth. That didn't make it any better. I mean, you're making me run around for 45 seconds. I'm tired as could be now.
For the third time today, Martinez facing a 3rd and 10 or longer.
The guy they've looked for a lot on 3rd downs has been Jamal Turner in the slot.
Martinez was looking to the sideline to get a little help from the coaching staff about what play to check to. Instead, the Huskers have to use their first timeout of the first half. Nebraska threatening. You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio. Stanford taking on Wisconsin's Stephon Taylor, one of the more underrated backs during his entire career. Coverage starts at 4:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Taylor all the more effective now that Kevin Hogan has taken over at quarterback for Stanford. Monte Ball, of course, a Big Star Heisman finalist last year for Wisconsin, had a good solid season this year, 1,700 yards. Nobody scored more touchdowns in the history of the Football Bowl subdivision than Monte Ball.
No nonsense runners. They're going to get positive yards, get downhill, physical guys, fun guys to watch at the running back spot.
Nothing quite like Pasadena on New Year's afternoon. You can see that on ESPN. We've got a good one going here. Nebraska trying to draw closer as Taylor Martinez looks at a 3rd and 10. Pressure coming. Martinez, who leads the nation in fumbles, and you could see that Georgia's defense was well aware of that, and so too was Martinez, who wrapped up the football. The 2nd sack for Georgia.
The key to this pressure is Jarvis Jones coming off the edge here. They get pressure coming off the edge, and it forces him to have to step up right away. They get a good push up the middle of the field, and that creates the sack.
And you know who got him, too, is Jordan Jenkins, the guy who next year and following year we'll be talking about him like we were Jarvis Jones.
No doubt.
A true freshman who is a tremendous pass rusher. And now the officials coming in to call the timeout. I think Georgia
takes its first time out of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Well, you wonder if they only had 10 guys on the field to try to stop the field goal, and perhaps Nebraska could have been alert to a fake, but as it was, Rick gets the timeout called, and the Dogs will get their field goal block unit straightened out.
You know, the expectations for Georgia's defense this year was so high. They had 10 starters coming back from a unit last year that had 277 yards, given up a game, 5th best in the country. They had a ton of guys submit paperwork to the National Football League. 9 decided to come back. You just look at all of these draft-eligible players, Davey. I mean, there's not another defense in the country that can say they have players like this.
Well, you think about Jenkins, John Jenkins, who came back, Jarvis Jones, who came back, Bakari Rambo, who came back. All made decisions that they wanted to try to come back and win a championship.
You had 4 guys, contributors on the defense, suspended in the early part of the season, hurt the continuity a little bit. Brett Maher knocks through the 39-yard field goal to pull the Cornhuskers within 6 with 8:48 remaining here in the first half. Martinez leads a scoring drive. Answer the Georgia score, which followed the Martinez interception. All of the BCS games on ESPN, the All-State Sugar Bowl on Wednesday night. Louisville and Teddy Bridgewater, presumably healthier than when we saw him playing his final game of the regular season against Rutgers, taking on Florida. The Gators finishing third in the BCS, getting an automatic spot in the BCS games. And Bridgewater, a tremendous quarterback from the state of Florida, against the Gators' current quarterback, Jeff Driscoll.
We saw Bridgewater against Rutgers. He might have been 80%.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, well,
60 probably at the best.
He was still better than 90% of quarterbacks in the country, but he hasn't seen a defense like what he's about to find in New Orleans.
And just his toughness. I mean, his ability to hang in the pocket, get drilled, make plays down the field. You saw him with a broken wrist, a sprained ankle, and he's the reason they're going to the BCS Bowl.
And I will say this, you guys know I'm not prone to hyperbole. Teddy Bridgewater throws the prettiest pass in college football.
The one that you were throwing on Thanksgiving Day was pretty nice, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's spin that magic bean now. A short kickoff to the 15. Kyle Karempoulos has it. He's one of the upbacks, and the blockers gets a chance to grab the football in the bowl game. And it might have come loose because Richard Samuel ended up coming out of there with it. He was the deep man. At any rate, Georgia will have the football at the 26.
Georgia has to be able to start running the football conventionally. We saw a long touchdown the last possession by Todd Gurley out of the Wildcat, but when they line up with two backs in the I backfield, they got to be able to generate yards against this Nebraska defense.
And they've done a good job stopping the run for the most part, and it's just the big passing plays, those huge plays that they keep messing up. They've actually held up pretty good in the trenches, where Georgia we thought had the big advantage.
Put a lot on Murray's plate. He's checking, getting them into the right run with Marshall. Keith Marshall cuts it back. He has explosive speed. And a tremendous open field and touchdown saving tackle from Damian Stafford after Marshall gets 19.
I think the biggest difference in Aaron Murray this year is his confidence, total control of this offense at the line of scrimmage. You're going to see here, see something in the defense. He's got a numbers advantage to the left side of the field. Audible, give it to Keith Marshall, and they get gashed. Nobody touches him. It's an explosive play for this offense.
How about Stafford in the open field making that tackle against probably the fastest player on Georgia's team? It's a heck of a tackle.
Now a little play action. Murray steps up, and he missed King. 2nd and 10.
I mean, it's impossible. The hardest thing in college football is making an open field tackle, and you got Marshall coming at you full speed with no one to the right or to the left to be able to come up and make that play. That's easily a touchdown saving play.
If there is one player that should be motivated on this Wisconsin team to play, or this Nebraska team to play well today, it's Damian Stafford, because he missed that tackle so many times in the Big Ten title game, took awful angles. He's a first-team All-Big Ten performer. He's playing much better today.
And a little blitz, and Marshall picked up maybe one. It'll be 3rd and long. Will Compton on the stop.
Well, this is exactly what Nebraska wanted to do. They wanted to win on first down and force Aaron Murray and this Georgia offense into 3rd and long. They've done a good job getting pressure with only 4 guys at times in that match coverage zone. It's given Georgia some problems.
Georgia's seen a lot of 3rd and longs.
Here comes pressure.
Murray's just one of his last 5. Keep coming. He completes the pass, but Nebraska stops McGowan short of the first down. And we've mentioned a couple of times that the Huskers lead the nation in pass defense. The other thing that they do extraordinarily well, they limit yards after the catch.
They sure do. If you do make a catch, they get you on the ground. Opponents only averaging 61 yards after a catch per game. You can set that up. If it's 3rd and long, just keep the football in front of you. You're going to blitz. We'll give you the completion. We're just going to make a tackle and force you to punt.
Now in the SEC championship game, one of the upbacks, number 88, Arthur Lynch, who has a touchdown today, completed a pass, a fake punt. Only got a yard to go, but this time Dogs will play it straight and kick it away. Short punt that goes out of bounds. Let's see The officials going to mark it, continues to run up the sideline, and he stops at the 24. That is not what the Dogs were after, a 22-yard punt. Our Aflac trivia question, Taylor Martinez is the 4th player in FBS history with 6,000 passing yards and 2,500 rushing yards before his senior season. Only a dozen have done it in college football all time. Who are the other 3? That's before his senior season. Chance to think about it.
Well, one of them is starting in the playoffs in the National Football League right now. There's a hint. And his team has a bye week.
For those of you playing along at home, nice hint from Jesse Palmer. Rex Burkhead.
Wasn't that 2 hints?
That was actually a double hint.
We gave a double hint.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody.
And we've given you long enough since Jesse virtually gave away the answer. Aflac trivia answer, Martinez, 6,000, 2,500 on the ground. The other 3, Vince Young, Brad Smith, and the one, too, as Jesse referred, Colin Kaepernick. Out of that pistol offense at Nevada, Hall of Famer Chris Ault, the head coach at Nevada, really made Kaepernick so dynamic in college, retiring with his second stint as head coach. We wish Chris all the best. His influence even being felt in the NFL with that pistol, not just with Kaepernick, but with some other offenses as well, as Burkhead picks up 6 and will have the first down.
Taylor Martinez, from a mechanical and fundamental standpoint, probably the most improved player in college football from last year to this year. This offseason went out, visited a quarterback guru, Steve Calhoun, on the West Coast, worked on his footwork, and as a result, this season, he's so much more accurate. He's on balance throwing the football, and as a result, this offense is so much deadlier with the passing game.
Back to the ground and a short gain by Burkhead. I talked to Calhoun earlier this season, swapped emails with him about a lot of the mechanical things he worked on with Taylor.
Last year is the left side of the screen. This year is the right side. The first thing is the footwork. Last season, stepping sideways instead of downfield. This year, stepping forward with the lead foot.
He heaved that one up, but he's got a man out there wide open. It's Kenny Bell, and Kenny Bell makes a big play, 35 yards on the pickup.
Taylor Martinez, so far in this game, has had to buy time when there's been pressure in his face, get outside the pocket. Nice job looking downfield, finding Bell.
And this is something that you're talking about, footwork and stuff. He just didn't do this exceptionally well. He dipped that front shoulder back so far that he was not accurate with the football. And with the weapons that are developing, man, next year could be scary.
Abdullah running hard and twisting a flag, comes flying into the pile from the back as Abdullah got a very short gain.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 99, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Kwame Gathers, the big junior nose guard, is called for the face mask.
Now, going back on what Davey just talked about with Taylor Martinez and his mechanics, not just the front foot, but the shoulder as well. Last year, tipped up way up in the air. You see on the left side of the screen, that's last year. This year, shoulders parallel to the ground. That allows him better weight transfer. It's just a completely different player, guys, and as a result, he's the first team all-conference quarterback in the Big Ten. Think about that.
You could do it on the ground, Jesse, but much more of a dynamic force throwing it like now. And a touchdown pass. Rex Burkhead coming from the slot. A 16-yarder, and Nebraska's an extra point away from taking the lead.
30.
Burkhead with his second touchdown catch of the season.
And watch what the play action does to the two linebackers, or linebacker and safety right here in the box. You talk about you're running the football effectively. Both of them 100% come up, play run. Burkhead slips behind them for an easy touchdown. When they're running the ball like this and they start to supplement the play action game with Nebraska, they're a scary offense.
And Nebraska is gutting the Georgia defense, but it's happening vice versa too. We're approaching 500 yards in the first half. Rex Burkhead, the senior, catching the touchdown pass. You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Aerial coverage of the Capital One Bowl here on New Year's Day, brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Nebraska, as it has all season, fights back no matter what. Taylor Martinez hitting Rex Burkhead for a touchdown, and the Cornhuskers scored the last 10 points to take a 24-23 lead. By the way, Taylor Martinez only needs 24 more yards of offense to set a Nebraska single-season total offense record, would eclipse the mark set by graduate assistant Joe Gans.
He's now set the school record for career passing touchdowns, passing Zach Taylor with that last touchdown pass.
In Georgia, making the fair catch on the kickoff. Dogs will take over down 1 as we check in with Robert Flores.
Hey, Reese, Northwestern hasn't won a bowl game since the 1949 Rose Bowl, but they're up on Mississippi State 27-13. That's Tyrus Jones. They're leading the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl right now on ESPN2.
Well, what a win that would be for Pat Fitzgerald. They've let so many bowl games slip away when they've had a chance. But over the course of the year, when Northwestern's the team with the lead, no lead is safe.
Pump the brakes. Let him finish.
Well, misdirection. Murray gets rid of it, and Compton is all over Arthur Lynch.
I think for most of this game, guys, Nebraska's done a good job being in the right place. So not a lot of busted coverages that we're seeing so far, because the talent level, Davey, isn't great on Nebraska this year. Not like it's been in years past.
No, but I tell you what, they're playing man-to-man on the outside, and they're winning matchups, which you didn't know if they could do coming into this ball game.
They're stopping the clock. The down marker across the way was showing 3rd down. It's actually 2nd down. Alert officiating. Gurley. There goes Gurley across the 40, and it's a 1st down for the Dogs.
You live and die by the blitz as a defense. This time Nebraska decides to bring the corner off the edge, and they just gash it, running it right into the teeth of where Nebraska's trying to come from.
Pickup of 19 from Todd Gurley in that running game for the Bulldogs. That little sporadic in the beginnings, now starting to get going as Gurley has 56 yards on 8 carries. And he has it again. Pickup of 1. It'll be 2nd and 9. Trying to see if Todd lost a towel or a shoe on that run. I think it was just a towel. Winding down inside 3.5 minutes to play in what's been an entertaining first half. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, Samantha Ponder. Glad that you're spending New Year's Day 2013 with us at the Capital One Bowl. Gurley has it again, and there goes Gurley. If he gets by Smith, he couldn't. He would have scored, but another big pickup by Todd Gurley, this time 24 yards.
This offensive line does a very good job with double teams and getting up into the 2nd level. You're going to see here a double team and then a scoop up top to get in. You get a cut block coming on the backside on linebacker Compton.
Look at Gurley set up that block, though. Step to the inside and go back to the right. That's how you make your offensive line look good.
Now Marshall is hit in the backfield. Tremendous coverage by Eric Martin, the defensive end, who sniffed that one out immediately. A loss of 6.
You know Eric Martin's going to be a key player in this scheme. Here he is, just going to come out with the back. Tremendous athlete. 2nd in the Big Ten in sacks this year. You've seen him tonight or today make plays in the backfield, also in coverage.
Yeah, and that's a tough play for a quarterback to read, too, because the end is rushing unless the running back goes to the flat and then he peels off. You saw Romo struggle with that the other day in the Redskins game.
Let's put the Dogs behind the chains. Murray play fake, firing a good catch. This is Lynch, who's had a good game. Sticky hands, gets 8 for the big fella.
Yeah, these tight ends have become a bigger part of this offense late in the year. Davey mentioned earlier when Bennett and Brown went down at wide receiver with ACLs, they needed someone to start making plays over the middle of the field. Last 5 games, saw some big catches in the SEC title game. We've already seen the Georgia tight ends over the middle of the field. We saw a touchdown earlier. Lynch having a good game.
And Malcolm Mitchell hadn't played the last couple of series either, so even more important, he has to step up at the tight end spot.
3rd down and 9. Murray can't find a receiver, and he's just going to have to throw it away. Now the question is, did he get outside the tackle box? Nebraska doesn't think that Murray made it out there.
Great job of disguise. It looks like they're bringing pressure up the middle at the very last second. Guys are going to drop out, and there's that match zone again. 3-on-2 up top, 2-on-1 at the bottom of the screen. Nowhere to go for Aaron Murray.
Y'all think he got outside the tackle box?
Well, Mike DeFee did. He was the referee, but from that replay, I didn't think so.
I didn't think he did, and that's a big... Remember, it's spot of the foul. So where he threw the football, he would have backed it up, and they'd essentially be out of field goal range. Didn't look like he got outside the tackle box.
Marshall Morgan's going to try a 47-yarder. That's a long 47. That'll be spotted closer to the 38-yard line, the 10 yards depth of the end zone. Morgan has the leg for it. Though he didn't get enough this time, didn't have the accuracy either. And a missed field goal with less than 90 seconds to go. So Nebraska's going to get the ball back. Pretty good field position. Couple timeouts. How do you expect Bo Pelini and the Husker offense to go after this one?
See, Bo Pelini fired up. You wanted to know about motivation, whether it meant anything to Nebraska to win this game. Lost their last two bowl games in a row, including this game last year against South Carolina. Bo Pelini. That shows you right now. These guys want to win. They're fired up.
I wish he wore his emotions on his sleeve a little bit more. He's so cerebral on the sidelines.
You know,
love his passion.
That game last year, David, really stuck in Pelini's craw against South Carolina. And it was at the end of the half, about this time when the game changed.
That's right.
Nebraska fumbled. South Carolina hit a Hail Mary, and it really changed the game. Both felt like that. You know, and it really chapped some South Carolina people, but he felt like they had the better team, should have won the game, and sort of
they fumble going in to score, and then they give up the Hail Mary to Alshon Jeffrey, so he's right. I mean, it was a quick turnaround.
Headed down toward a minute, second down and 7. See how aggressive Nebraska is. It can be very aggressive. Jarvis Jones is chasing Taylor Martinez. Martinez is going to get it out of bounds and stop the clock, but now he's got to deal with a third down.
Well, you can see the speed by this Georgia defense. Not a lot of defenses can chase Taylor Martinez like this sideline to sideline. Certainly Georgia can, and with the way Taylor Martinez is throwing it right now, with the exception of the one interception, he's really been dialed in with his decision making. So you like this play calling right now, dropping back, throwing it because you trust him at this point in the game.
At 11 of 15. Martinez just throws it and had to get rid of it, so that'll bring up fourth down. And there's still a lot of time on the clock now, and Georgia has a couple of timeouts.
Going to see Jarvis Jones coming off the edge, working against Brent Quale right here outside. Sorry, working against Andrew Rodriguez, a backup right tackle. That's not a good matchup if you're Nebraska.
The quarterback was in the pocket. No one was in the area. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. Fourth down.
So this time they did call intentional grounding, and Coach Pelini going to be less than amused by the fact that his quarterback was called for it and Aaron Murray wasn't, although not necessarily hurt because Georgia missed the field goal. There we go.
Well, it was the running back that got tripped up and fell in the middle of the pile right there is what it looked like. There's also a receiver on the outside, too, that looked like he was in the same region.
Yeah.
Do you think that was intentional?
He was trying to block.
I thought it was. I thought it was intentional ground.
Well, I mean, if it's a screen, too, it doesn't have to go back to the line of scrimmage, and it was easily a screen.
They could not take the 10-second runoff. Clock will start on the snap.
That makes sense because they want an opportunity to get the football back with 2 timeouts to go and try to get some points here before the half ends.
Well, and the penalty, too, changes the field position quite a bit, changes the dynamic, and because of what we talked about last year, this has been a back-and-forth game. Both teams running up and down the field. But into the half. See how Nebraska handles the end of the half of this Capital One Bowl this year.
Remember, their first punt was blocked.
Maher will get it out of there a little quicker this time. We're just showing a little pressure, and here they come. Maher gets it away safely. McGowan's going to catch it at his 30. McGowan, good return. Across the 45. 48-yard punt, a 16-yard return. So with 40 seconds remaining in the first half, Aaron Murray will have an excellent field goal position, or excellent field position. Don't need a lot to get in position for a field goal, but the Dogs with enough time to take a shot at the end zone.
They have an eternity, that's for sure, especially with 2 timeouts still here. And true freshman kicker Morgan Marshall is long on the season's 52 yards. So you'd have to get it to about the 35-yard line to match his season long. A lot of time to easily do that for the second most efficient passer in the country.
Checking on an injured Cornhusker. Maybe Stafford is still on the turf.
Yeah, it's Stafford. And you see P.J. Smith there, the other safety. These 2 guys very, very close, showing concern for him.
Damian appears to be walking well, and it's certainly good news. Don't forget all of the BCS Bowls on ESPN. The Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Oregon and Kansas State. Coverage starting at 8 p.m. Thursday on ESPN. You can also catch it on the Watch ESPN app. You know, it was late in the season that this looked as if it could be the national championship game. It's a great matchup between Chip Kelly's Ducks. What Chip Kelly's future will be at Oregon. Colin Klein's last game as the quarterback at Kansas State for head coach Bill Snyder. Aaron Murray scrambling, looking, firing along the sideline to King, and King makes the catch. Now there's a flag coming in late. And the hats off too. So a 10-yard penalty, or a 10-yard gain, I should say. We'll see what the penalty is.
There are so few places to throw the football if you're Aaron Murray. I mean, I'm watching downfield at the coverage, and there's just nowhere to go. When he's in the pocket and he hasn't been flushed yet, a lot of Nebraska
illegal
bodies.
touching offense, number 12. He went out of bounds and was the first to touch. Lost it down at the previous spot, second down.
So unless you're forced out of bounds, you can't come back in and make a catch. And
see the big tight end, Rome, running right across the middle there, too, with Murray having a shot to fire to him down the field. But Murray had that time. He's been flustered out of the pocket.
McGowan, we're trying to set up a tunnel screen. McGowan couldn't hold it. It'll be third down with 28 seconds to go.
You're talking about Aaron Murray, who some people believe, if he came out this year, could be a high draft pick in the NFL. Guys, he's 9 for 19 right now. I mean, it's a very good pass defense. You know, not a lot of great athletes, but they play, their coverage is so well.
On 3rd and 10. Murray to McGowan, and McGowan caught it twice and held on. He'll get the first down. Clock stops to move the chains. Pick up a 13. Dogs still with a couple of timeouts left as well. As soon as the ball is spotted for play, clock will roll, and it's rolling now. With 2 timeouts, and Rick quickly calls the timeout. They lost 4 or 5 seconds there, and I'm sure that they didn't have to spike it, but I'm sure that sort of haunting to Georgia fans after electing not to spike it in the final play of the SEC championship game.
No doubt about it. Watch the anticipation on this throw by Aaron Murray. He's going to have his receiver running the in route. That's McGowan coming from the backside. Just a nice throw out in front before his receiver gets his head snapped around it. A good job by the receiver locating it. Kind of bobbled it. Made a nice catch.
Off the face mask.
Oof. So you don't give your receiver a choice.
You just stick it on there. Yeah. You're going to catch this whether you like it or not. I'm going to stick it to your face mask.
We're talking about accuracy now.
That's one of the things with Drew Brees. I remember hearing him talk about it. He said he used to always throw it to the face mask because if guys see it, they're not going to drop it. Some people try to go to the numbers. You look at the numbers for Aaron Murray, 10 of 20. He's thrown a lot of deep balls, too. He's made a lot of big completions down the field, but he does have the 2 interceptions.
We still have a timeout left. Need to pick up in the neighborhood of 10. Give the field goal kicker a legitimate chance. What they don't need is a sack. They got an incompletion, so 11 seconds remaining on the clock.
I think Nebraska has done a good job mixing up their pressures, guys coming from different levels of the field, never giving Aaron Murray the same look over and over and over again, forcing him, you know, to really have to try and decipher things on the go.
11 seconds to go. Flag flying. And a false start on Georgia.
False start. Offense, number 86. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
You know, and that obviously really hurts Georgia because, again, you're looking at getting around the 35-yard line to give your true freshman an opportunity to match his season-long field goal. Now you just back yourself up with only one timeout, making it that much tougher.
Now, Nebraska started trotting to the end. They were hoping for the 10-second runoff, but the clock wasn't stopped, or wasn't running. Penalty didn't cause the clock to stop, so there's no 10-second runoff. It's second down and 15. Murray firing over McGowan's head, now with 7 seconds to go. It seems highly unlikely that Georgia could complete a pass to get them in the field goal range, and now I think they'd heave it up and try the Hail Mary, which brings us back to the waning seconds of the Capital One Bowl first half last year for Nebraska against South Carolina.
Pelini was happy to talk about that when he brought it up, wasn't he?
Well, he brought it up.
He was mad.
Well, I actually brought it up.
We got to line up in the right spots.
And Murray mishandles the snap, and Aaron's going to get to show off his arm strength unless Cameron Meredith gets to him. McGowan's going to make the catch, but time is going to expire before Georgia can have a chance to try a field goal, so the Cornhuskers will go to the locker room with a 24-23 lead in what has been an entertaining offensive first half. 564 yards of total offense for these two teams combined. A little bit of running, a little bit of passing. Seen a block punt. Samantha Ponder with Mark Richt.
Coach, so many changes in momentum in that first half. What are you seeing out there that concerns you most right now?
Well, I'm just seeing a good football game. Two teams getting after it, playing hard. No one's playing about a month, so it's a little bit sloppy here and there, but it's going to come down to who wants it the most in the end.
Playing hard, but without Malcolm Mitchell there towards the end. What's his status right now?
Well, we don't give any kind of injury status.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Reese, back up to you.
All right, Sam, and that didn't sound positive. We'll see if the star receiver can come back the second half. Nebraska up 24-23 at the break. We'll go to John Saunders in the halftime report right after these messages.
You're watching ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Just about set to start the second half of the Capital One Bowl. Georgia and Nebraska, highly entertaining back and forth first half. 24-23, the Cornhuskers have the lead on Aaron Murray and the Dogs. Georgia trying to win 12 games for just the third time in the history of the program. Nebraska going for its 11th win. It is time for our expert breakdown, brought to you by Farmers. Todd Gurley had a big first half.
It's been tough sledding throwing the football for Georgia in the first half. I think they have to be able to continue running the football conventionally in the second half, force an defender into the box, create one-on-ones outside.
In Nebraska's offense, they're one of the best rush offenses in the country. Give it to Abdullah, give it to Burkhead, and that opens up the play-action passing game. Look at that. All set up off of the run. Continue to run the football and use your counterpunch as you pass.
Our expert breakdown brought to you by Farmers Insurance, and what has broken down largely has been the defenses of both teams, largely because of good offense. 24-23, big-time numbers. Dogs with over 300 yards of offense. Nebraska nearly 150. Jamie Lindley getting set to kick it off in the second half for Georgia. Nebraska with the lead will get the ball first, and we're underway in the second half in Orlando. And the Huskers will have it on their 25 as we check in with Samantha Ponder.
Yeah, Reese, Bo Pelini told me that he's happy with how hard his team is playing and the passion they're playing with. But I asked him about X's and O's adjustments. He said nothing structurally, but they did throw some things at us we didn't expect. We didn't expect to see the Wildcat, and we did have some missed run fits. I also told him that Malcolm Mitchell is out. I know that Mark Richt wouldn't say it, but their SID did tell me that he is out. He said that helps a lot. He is a very good player.
That he is, Sam, and the other thing it does to the Georgia passing attack, it really means their top three receivers are gone. Earlier in the season, they lost Marlon Brown and Michael Bennett, both to ACL injuries, so now Aaron Murray has to look other places to try to find receivers. Heat on Tavares King, and there's some heat immediately on Taylor Martinez. Alec Ogletree was the first guy to get him, and Taylor on his first carry the second half loses a couple.
And Alec Ogletree is a guy, as a middle linebacker type player, he can run. We talked about he's a converted safety, but you see him every single week. He flies all over the field.
Nebraska already was 76 rushing yards in that first half. Georgia's going to have to do a better job stopping the run, forcing second and third and longs.
One thing the Dogs haven't allowed today, they haven't allowed Martinez to get loose. Taylor gets rid of it in the flat. It's complete. Up close to the first down is Kenny Bell, a pickup of 11. Then he's going to be just a little bit short.
And how about Martinez? I mean, just staying patient, not weirding out, not wigging out and getting outside the pocket. It's a good job just staying patient, getting 7 yards.
Burkhead hitting the backfield, keeps those legs churning, and he'll have the first down.
You know, this Nebraska offense has been a better second-half offense throughout the course of the season. Offensive coordinator Tim Beck told us that because their offense is so unique, oftentimes this year, it's taken them about a half to figure out how defenses are going to play them. They make their adjustments at halftime, and as a result, you know, they've overcome 4 double-digit second-half deficits this season. I think that's one reason why.
And Martinez gets away from Jordan Jenkins, now throws it to a wide open Cotton in the middle of the field, and Ben couldn't hold it.
Another
You can hear the agony in Reese Davis's voice.
An amazing job by Taylor Martinez avoiding pressure from the true freshman Jordan Jenkins off the edge, buying time, and then a great throw. You're going to see the pressure come this way off the edge. Nobody blocks Jenkins. You see the speed, the acceleration, and how about throwing across his body, getting his shoulders turned? Perfect mechanics. You just got to make the catch.
You know, his brother Jake got a personal foul penalty earlier, so we were giving him grief about that. Jake had said, well, yeah, but you dropped that pass.
Well, Sam's only redshirt and the youngest brother, so he's in no fear of making a mistake today.
Burkhead. Across the 40 to about the 42. It's a pickup of 6.
And it's hard to imagine if you're Nebraska doing anything besides running the football. I mean, just so much success, and it's not in the I formation. It's in the shotgun, giving it to Rex, giving it to Abdullah. Both those guys have just been chewing up yards.
Burkhead still in the game, lined up at receiver. Martinez has great speed. First down, Taylor Martinez, and he dances out of bounds, chased out by Sean Williams.
No matter what Georgia does defensively moving forward in this game, they have to start containing Taylor Martinez and keeping him in the pocket. On this drive alone, twice, Martinez able to get outside. They should have had a big completion a few plays ago. This is the second time now in the drive. Got to keep him in the pocket.
Haven't blitzed him much. You figure they'd be a little bit more aggressive and bring some heat. Haven't been able to do it yet.
Nebraska showing a lot of shifts, trying not only to confuse Georgia with some misdirection, but an alignment as well. Burkhead, the great spin by Rex, but Georgia was there and ready for the cutback. Garrison Smith was there. Jordan Jenkins on the scene as well.
Georgia on defense up front, moving guys around, switching over. Every time Nebraska shifts, they're switching as well, getting in their gaps.
Already the 8th play in this opening drive of the second half. Amir Abdullah bursting through the middle. Abdullah with a great move to the outside. Amir Abdullah's inside the 25. Ogletree stopped him for the run of 26 for the sophomore from Homewood, Alabama.
Great surge from the middle of Nebraska's offensive line. You're going to see inside here a lot of guys getting pushed in the middle, and I gotta tell you, that's pretty surprising to me because their left guard, Soon Hoon Choi, is only 290 pounds. Their center, Cole Pensick, only weighs 275. So Cole Pensick gives up 80 pounds to Kwame Gathers. Way undersized, and yet these guys right now fighting even though they're way smaller.
Kenny Bell, flanker screens. Kari Rambo standing him up, and a host of Dogs coming over to help.
short gain on that one. That run by Abdullah. Sean Williams just got abused.
Well,
what a move.
They call him Mighty Mouse, and he can make you miss. But guys, he squats 540 pounds. He's 5'9", 185 pounds. So when you see him in the open field, you think, oh, this guy's going to try to shake me. But he can run you over also. I mean, this guy can do everything.
It was one of the reasons they really liked him despite his diminutive stature, the fact that he was an inside runner as well as just a perimeter guy. And the Cornhuskers starting to feel it. Their fans who have made the trip to Orlando on the heels of the disappointment of the Big Ten championship game rallying behind. Nebraska up by 1 and driving. This is the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Could be huge. We're seeing an impact with Georgia being without its nose tackle, Big John Jenkins, in the middle of our game. Look forward to Wisconsin and Stanford on ESPN later on this afternoon. But right now, Nebraska's looking at a 2nd and 4 in the Georgia red zone. Cornhuskers have taken the second half kickoff and marched it down the field. Taylor Martinez. Martinez inside the 10. He's got a 1st and goal.
Well, again, it's not anything that we haven't seen all night. You got him in the shotgun, and you watch, Jarvis Jones on the end of the line of scrimmage. You have a decision to make. Why would I block you? You take Rex Burkhead, the quarterback goes right up the middle. And by the way, the push in the middle of the Nebraska offensive line doing a good job too. It's easy. I mean, there's nothing complicated about this running game right now, but it's gas in Georgia.
The 11th play of the drive coming. Look at this formation. We're going to talk about student body right now. Rex Burkhead got a couple, and as they're trying to get into the end zone, Taylor Martinez, who earlier set the career touchdown pass record, now has set a single season total offense record, passing Joe Gans, who's his graduate assistant coach on this staff. 3,829 yards. What he'd like to get is 8 more yards here and another touchdown for the Cornhuskers. Burkhead. Rex inside the 5 and knocked down maybe at the 2. 3rd and goal coming.
Just the volume of zone reads that you see from Nebraska makes it so difficult to stop. Inside, outside.
They got a snap before Georgia was even lined up, and as a result, Burkhead's into the end zone, and Big Red scores again.
I love the fact that Nebraska is starting to go up-tempo more often now, because we talked earlier, guys, the depth problems Georgia has on defense, on the defensive line, trying to wear them down on this entire drive. I think you saw that. Just look at the confusion.
I think you set up. That's over 50 plays ran, too. At that tempo, making you run. It's a little bit hotter being down here in Florida. Guys look with the hands on the hips, looking exhausted.
Well, the guys from Nebraska finding a little spring in their step from America's heartland, the most magical place on earth. Nebraska has found a little magic on offense right down to 31-23 lead. Now, can Georgia have an answer with their opening possession of the second half? You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Great event all week, the Capital One Bowl, part of the Fan Fest festivities that you see. And Mark Mentry, the Senior Vice President from Capital One, giving the winning in the Mascot Challenge to Raider Red, the Capital One Mascot of the Year. Now, you have to actually be a big mascot like that. You can't, be a person on the sideline to be a mascot. Those mascots are displeased, but Raider Red takes home the crown as the Capital One Mascot of the Year. There's the running back of the moment for Nebraska. Rex Burkhead just went into the end zone for the touchdown, and Nebraska has a 31-23 lead. Richard Samuel takes it inside his 5. Did Samuel get tackled by a Georgia player? That was bizarre. This was commonplace in the 90s, seeing Tom Osborne be doused with the Gatorade, 3-time national champion for the legendary Cornhusker football coach and now athletic director. After the 1997 season, Tom stepped down as the head coach, and after today is stepping down as athletic director at the University of Nebraska. There's Tom, a chance over the last couple of days to spend some time with He and his lovely wife, Nancy.
Looks exactly the same, doesn't he?
He hasn't aged at all. Todd Gurley gets across the 30, though Tom served 3 terms in Congress. Had he stayed in Congress, he might have aged a little bit more. And that's what he was saying the other night. But not only is his legacy immense as a Hall of Fame coach, 255 wins, the 3 national championships. He was on Bob Devaney's staff before becoming the head coach and athletic director since 07. He leaves a legacy of being the consummate gentleman.
No doubt. This is his 504th game he's been associated with the football team today. That's amazing.
He's going to serve as AD Emeritus until Sean Eichhorst, who's already in Lincoln, as Gurley picks up a few, takes over full-time, sort of show him the ropes, and then Tom's going to spend more time with his mentoring program, continuing to serve the community, and we certainly salute him and wish him well in his next endeavor.
Well, Georgia can serve themselves right now by getting a good drive and generating points. They have to find a way to get the momentum back. Nebraska took the lead late in the first half, marched down the field, scored a touchdown on their first drive of this half. Aaron Murray and Georgia now have to answer.
We were talking about the Georgia defensive line being thin. Same could be said for the Nebraska defensive line as well. Short pickup to the 40. Georgia's going to be about 3.5 yards short of the first down.
And the offense completely changes now, too, without a speedster on the outside with Malcolm Mitchell. Nebraska, they wanted to play man coverage regardless. Now they really can play man coverage. If Georgia doesn't run it, they're really going to struggle in the passing game because of Nebraska's secondary.
Justin Scott Wesley's going to get some more playing time. He's at the top of your screen. Murray firing to Tavares King. First down, King into Nebraska territory to the 49 to pick up 11.
And TK, Tavares King's a guy that's now going to have to step up without Mitchell on the field. Now, he made the big catch early in the game, 75 yards. Hadn't had another catch until this play right here. Doing a nice job just running a curl route, being physical, coming back to the football. But here's a guy throughout his whole career. He's never been the primary target in this offense, whether it was Muhammad Massaquoi or A.J. Green, Malcolm Mitchell. He's now the man in this game, and he's got to step up.
Nobody has played more games in a Georgia uniform than Tavares King. Murray reloads, pulls it down, throwing it deep, looking for a man, and he's got him. It's Chris Conley. Touchdown, Georgia. How about Conley, who caught that final pass in the SEC championship game only to see time expire, coming up with a huge play when Georgia needs someone on the outside to step up.
It's a great job by Aaron Murray using a little pump fake, and it holds the field safety inside and allows this play to even happen. There's a safety covering the tight end. The fake holds Stafford for just a split second, and a great catch by Conley.
Conley said, I can go deep. Don't forget about me. I know Malcolm Mitchell's not here. Marlon Brown, Michael Bennett. I got this.
That was his career-long catch, and Rick, even here in the third quarter, there's a lot of time.
The field was a complete and a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
Yeah, they're going to... I didn't think, we'll look at it again, but I didn't think there was any question about the catch itself. I would imagine they're going to see if he went down before he went into the end zone. We'll get a better look here. Catch good.
Knee there. Where's the football across the plane when his knee touches? If the football is touching any part of the goal line, then that's a touchdown. When his knee hits, the question is, where is the football when that knee hits?
And the ruling on the field is touchdown. So to remind you, and I'm sure you're aware,
he's there.
Football, watching college football all season long, the standard for a replay official to overturn a call is indisputable video evidence.
From all of these looks, I don't think there's any way you can overturn this based on the looks we're seeing right now.
Now, Pollock, you've been red hot on call stands or overturned. You're saying call stands touchdown?
I think the call stands. You know, it's tough because it's so far away that we don't have a goal line shot where you can rotate it and see the ball because he chucked it 60-plus yards. So I think it stands.
Jesse?
I'm going to say stands.
Now I'm nervous. If I'm agreeing with you, I'm nervous a little bit.
Good, 3 for 3. I agree.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And what a great answer by Aaron Murray and this Georgia offense to come out, answer right back after Nebraska goes down the field and scores. I mean, defense optional right now.
No, actually, defense isn't showing up.
Georgia's going to go for 2 and try to tie it. Generally speaking, I prefer teams to wait until the fourth quarter until you start chasing that number.
Tavares King at the top of the screen here.
Murray firing, and the 2 is good. And now we're all locked up halfway through the third quarter. Well, these two programs have only met one time in history. Keep playing like this, they're going to need to play more often.
Rhett McGowan goes in motion. Aaron Murray sees it's man-to-man coverage. Hits him on a quick out route. Easy, very easy.
Rhett McGowan gets the deuce. And after a great drive by Nebraska, Georgia answers with one of its own. 31-31. We're tied in Orlando. Stephon Taylor and Stanford getting set to play in the Rose Bowl against Wisconsin. That's on ESPN. Coverage will start at 4:30 Eastern Time. Spectacular day in Orlando for the Capital One Bowl and aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. 31-31. Georgia and Nebraska all tied up, and they not only perform on the field but off of it as well. Capital One Academic All-America team, players selected by the sports information directors, both Georgia quarterback Aaron Murray, psychology major, and Nebraska senior Rex Burkhead in his degree in history with 3.45. Burkhead's a 2-time Academic All-American, was also a National Scholar Athlete from the National Football Foundation.
How about Sean Fisher, starting linebacker for Nebraska? He's a second-team Academic All-American. A lot of smart guys playing in this game.
And Sean yesterday was saying that he's on his way to med school. Amir Abdullah was on his way toward the 30-yard line until he was greeted by some guys in red and black, and a flag comes in at the end of the return.
Jamie Lindley's kick returned by Amir Abdullah.
Fisher, the linebacker you were referring to, a 4.0 student.
25 yards on the return.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the return team, number 21. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And Stephen Osborne, the receiver who was playing on the return team, gets hit with that penalty, and Taylor Martinez and his offense will take over inside his own 15-yard line. But the way Nebraska's been moving the football lately, it just gives them a few more yards to pile up in the stat column.
Well, discipline's going to be big.
Burkhead. Rex may get it all in one swoop. A touchdown-saving tackle from Damian Swan. A pickup of 28 for Burkhead.
For the second time in 2 consecutive snaps, Georgia's not ready to get line. Look at the confusion in the back end. Substitution. Nebraska's lined up in an I formation. They're ready to play. It's the first play of this series. You can't have that kind of mental mistake right now if you're Georgia.
Burkhead's over 100 yards in his final game as a Cornhusker. Give it to him again. Why not? Burkhead. Look at Burkhead churn those feet and get up to the 47-yard line.
That's got to dial in. I mean, a game that's so close right now, both offenses scoring the way they are, penalties, turnovers, and just getting lined up and getting your substitutions correct. These things are going to go a long way in determining who wins this game.
Burkhead's getting a quick breather, Braylon Hurd, and Georgia's still running guys on and off the field. He drives right into the chest of Alec Ogletree. Looks like Braylon's going to have enough of the first down. That's Georgia defensive coordinator Todd Grantham. So what about this right now, David? How do you handle this confusion the Dogs are dealing with?
I think every defensive coordinator wants to make sure that they're in the optimal defense and substitute and make sure that you're defending it the way you want to. But at some point, you got to line up and play ball, and you got to get in the right spots. And people aren't even lined up right. They're not attacking. It looks like they're extremely tired out there as well.
Was a first down for Hurd. Martinez is going to chuck it away. Tim Marlowe not too far away, and Taylor was probably outside the tackle box anyway.
Well, one thing you'll say about Georgia, they are as close to an NFL defense as you'll see in college football with respect to the scheme. You expect that from Todd Grantham, having spent 11 years in the NFL, 3 as a defensive coordinator, but all the different exotic looks and coverages and pressures against a unique offense like this sometimes isn't the best thing because it's just, you never see it. It's hard to get lined up because you're not used to what you're looking at. Georgia may need to go more vanilla.
Martinez. Taylor's inside the 40. Looks like he's going to be marked a tad short of the first down.
Watch the ball security by Taylor Martinez as he's going down on the ground right here. Very, very careful to keep 2 hands on the football. Since the beginning of his career, nobody's had more fumbles than Taylor Martinez.
Led the nation 3 straight years. Flags fly. There's been a timeout called. Let's see if they pick up the flag.
There is no foul on the play for 12 men on defense. Prior to that, timeout, Georgia. 30-second timeout.
But yet another example. I mean, you have to call the timeout because you're trying to avoid too many players on the field. If you're Georgia, get it fixed.
And in a tight game like this, only 1 timeout now remaining for the Dogs.
When it looks like it's a score fest.
Yeah, that could loom large in the waning moments if we end up having a tight game right at the end, and we certainly do now. The 5:34 remaining in the third quarter. It's been an entertaining one. If you're a defensive purist, it certainly hasn't been a thing of beauty so far.
No, it definitely hasn't. And when you look at both teams, they're doing what they want to do. And if the turnovers weren't a factor, then it seems like they'd score in every single possession. The offenses, Nebraska with their tempo and their running games giving Georgia fits, and Georgia with the deep passing game has given Nebraska fits.
I just think from a clock management standpoint, the substitution standpoint, it hasn't been very good for Georgia now 2 straight games.
A big shot of David Pollock when he played in this game a few years ago. We haven't seen many big defensive plays. Burkhead took the snap and gave it to Abdullah. This is something that when Burkhead has been healthy, although maybe the football came loose, let's see, Georgia thinks they have the ball. See what the officials say. Georgia's celebrating they have the football.
And let's see, it was Alec Ogletree who came in there and made the stop on Abdullah, but it's just a matter of if his knee was down when the ball came out.
We also have a player down, I believe it's Jeremiah Searles.
The ruling on the field is a fumble and a recovery by the defense. First down.
Alec Ogletree, we think, came up with that football in the short yardage package where Burkhead takes a snap. He tossed it back to Abdullah. They scored a couple times with this against Ohio State this year.
There it is. There's the ball out.
The ball comes out. Question is, was his knee on the ground when that football came out? It's hard to tell from that angle because he had the first down. It's a great job by Ogletree putting his right hand in there. Ball's coming out. You can't. It's the right knee is going to be the key on this one. Is his right knee on the ground before that ball comes out?
It's either scramble, and Georgia coming out of there with it. Capital One Bowl on ABC. Well, on January 8th, Jimmy Kimmel moves to 11:35 Eastern Time. Late nights never seen. A week like one is going to be coming up. Ryan Gosling, Sofia Vergara, Brad Paisley, Bruno Mars. And the first night, the new time, Jimmy's going to kick things off with Jennifer Aniston, and no doubt, Jimmy Kimmel Live, 11:35 Eastern, 10:35 Central. That starts Tuesday, January 8th on ABC.
Well, this turnover, if it stands, huge for Georgia because, again, trying to regain momentum. And they just scored a long touchdown pass on the previous possession, but also giving the defense a breather because they were getting gashed on that drive.
And Alec Ogletree is the guy that comes in there, and you're looking at Abdullah's knee to see if it goes down first, and you can tell it doesn't go down. You can't see it right there with the wash, and then Ogletree, pretty heads-up play. A lot of times you see the ball out, guys don't go and grab it. He reaches in, grabs the football, and is able to come up with it. And Georgia gets the football. Unless you want to dispute it, Reese.
No, you know what? You looked at you see Jeremiah Searles, the offensive lineman who was hurt on the play. The other angle we looked at Ogletree also beat Jake Cotton to the ball.
Yeah.
Cotton saw it come loose very quickly and was scrambling for it, and Ogletree did a terrific job. Ogletree, who has yet to make a decision as to whether this will be his final game as a Bulldog. He's a junior, highly thought of, tremendous speed. As David mentioned earlier, a former defensive back who's moved to linebacker and been very impactful for a Georgia defense, which is loaded with talent, but because of some continuity issues, perhaps even some depth issues, they've struggled a lot late in the season, particularly against the run, as we take another look at this Amir Abdullah play to see whether the knee was down when the ball came loose.
Yeah, I think this is going to stand as a fumble. I don't know if there's any indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field.
Following the fumble recovery, the Bulldogs now have the ball first down and 10 for home and 30.
Now, if you're Nebraska defensively, if this does in fact stand, you got to say to yourself, no more deep throws allowed downfield. No more explosive plays in the passing game. We've already given up 2. Let's make Georgia earn their yards.
So we're even in turnovers as the fumble stands, 2 apiece. We're even in score at 31, and Georgia has it back after the Abdullah fumble. Fake to Keith Marshall. Ankara's after Murray. Murray's going to be chased out of bounds. They're picked up maybe 3. You're just joining us, Malcolm Mitchell, the go-to receiver, Georgia's leading receiver in the regular season in terms of catches. Left the game with an injury, not going to play the rest of the way. We've seen some wildcat from the Dogs, and we're about to see it again. As Murray splits out, Keith Marshall, one of the 2 freshman tailbacks, will take the direct snap. A little counter, and that didn't fool anybody. It's going to be 3rd and long. Jason Ankara was back there. He'll lose the 3. Murray picked up, might have lost a little extra.
It's the one thing you love and you hate about bowl season. Because teams have so many weeks to get ready for games, they can add new wrinkles on offense and defense and confuse you a little bit. We saw Nebraska have issues with the Wildcat and a long touchdown run by Gurley early. We're tricked. We're fooled right there.
There's Mitchell in the shades, but no shoulder pads. Dogs would prefer to see him with the shoulder pads. They're saying now it's a concussion, which probably explains the sunglasses that Malcolm's wearing on the sideline. Pressure coming on Murray. Steps up, delivers the ball a little too high. King. And the Nebraska defense rises up after the turnover and forces a 3-and-out.
When you're throwing into the blitz, sense of urgency has to go up everywhere. The quarterback's got to get it out quicker. The receiver's got to get his head snapped around sooner to identify the football. That was a good throw under duress. TK's got to make that catch.
As we watch this punt, David, Jesse said a minute ago he wanted to see the Georgia defense get it fixed. What do they need to fix against this tempo for Nebraska when the Huskers get the ball back?
Well, first of all, they need to get lined up. I know that sounds basic and simple, but that's the start. They got to get lined up, and they got to, it seems like, create turnovers because they haven't been able to stop Nebraska consistently. They just got to force a turnover like they did.
Jamal Turner makes the fair catch at 14. There was a hit by Sailors, I believe, at the end. There is another flag just short of midfield. There was no flag for the hit after the fair catch.
During the play, personal foul, face mask, defense, number 88. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down.
I mean, Arthur Lynch, they got called for the face mask, so Nebraska, which was going to start inside its own 15.
Again, you talk about discipline, close games, penalties, turnovers, substitutions, all these things. Can't afford those types of penalties right now.
That's at least the 4th personal foul.
No doubt.
That Georgia's committed. Now you just gotta suck it up, man. You've given up a lot of points, you've given up a lot of yards, but as a defense, you just got to find a way to make plays. And Ogletree did it in the last possession. Now it's got to be somebody else.
Well, what point does pride set in? I mean, you gave up 350 on the ground against Alabama. Otherwise, you're probably playing in Miami in a couple weeks. Or in a week.
And once again, we have a little issue with the down marker on the far side. Officials right on top of it. Down marker signal 4th down. Clearly first now. Burkhead. maybe a pickup of one as we check in with Robert Flores.
Hey, Reese, Outback Bowl, South Carolina and Michigan right now on ESPN. Michigan quarterback Devin Gardner to Jeremy Gallen. They went for 2 and missed, but the Wolverines still leading number 10 South Carolina 22-21. Early fourth quarter on ESPN.
Boy, this could be a great 2 days for the college football fans who have SEC fatigue. Northwestern has already beaten Mississippi State. LSU lost last night. South Carolina's trailing. Georgia's in a battle with Nebraska here.
Well, and if Big Ten fatigue or being punching bag, too. They're getting sick and tired of hearing it.
Ball start. Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And here's some positive signs. I mean, you create a turnover defensively. You stop them on a run for no gain, and now you force a penalty. You're actually bringing a blitz. You got them to jump a little bit, forced a penalty. Now good things are starting to happen.
Not hard to blame them jumping when you got Jarvis Jones lining up opposite you.
Draw to Burkhead. Franks with a terrific pickup, getting low to the ground to the 36, a pickup of 10. He'll need about 4 more for a first down as we check in with Sam.
We've been talking about fatigue. It's a legitimate issue right now for something as simple as the sun. The difference between the two sidelines is incredibly notable right now. I just walked from the Nebraska sideline over to the Georgia sideline. It felt like it was 20 degrees cooler over there. Guys are looking into the sun, trying to use the air conditioners and misters when they come off, but it's hot over here for the fans too. Matters a little bit more for the players though.
And Sam, you know, you'd think that would sort of fit with the climate. A little bit warmer in Georgia than it is in Nebraska, so Nebraska has the cooler sideline. Martinez scrambling. Will he be able to get to the marker? He will not. Christian Robinson chased him out of bounds. It'll be fourth down.
This is a great job by Todd Grantham, showing blitz, confusing Taylor Martinez, and checking out. Look at Bakari Rambo. He comes up to the line of scrimmage. You see Swain come up to the line of scrimmage and check out, come out of the blitz, confuses Taylor Martinez. He didn't know where to go with the football, and you make a play on defense. I call him Swan again. Gee, Mania, Swain.
No, Swan's right.
Swan, oh, goodness gracious. I keep messing that up.
McGowan messed up the catch. He muffed it for a moment, but was able to corral it. Georgia will have it on the 26 and avoid what would have been disaster. 31 all, just over 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Terrific day of football, not only here on ABC, but on ESPN coming up in a bit. Barry Alvarez, 118 victories, the winningest coach in Wisconsin history, a one-game return engagement as head coach in the Rose Bowl. He's the interim coach, who's the athletic director, and returned to the sideline. He'll coach against Stanford. Barry has 3 Rose Bowl wins, 3-0 in the Rose Bowl in his career, trying to join Woody Hayes with 4 victories. Wisconsin's in the Rose Bowl for the 3rd straight year. Haven't won one yet, at least in this incarnation, is this group for the last 2 visits, and they'll see if they can against Stanford. Gurley with a tough run out to the 30, picks up 4.
So because Alvarez was undefeated and you've been losing him, you bring him back? Well, come on.
It had a little bit to do with Brett Bielema taking the Arkansas job, too.
Now, this is a time, I think, guys, Georgia needs to get Todd Gurley going. They have to be able to stay on the field, sustain drive. Sam was just talking about the sideline for Georgia, how fatigued everybody is in the sun. Stay on the field. Give your defense a chance to catch their breath.
Murray just gets it off. Making the grab out there is Justin Scott Wesley. Wesley's had a mixed bag on the day, had a chance to recover the block punt for a touchdown. He's dropped a pass, but this time he picks up 31.
Seeing a lot of different guys now make plays instead of Malcolm Mitchell. Justin Scott Wesley, Rhett McGowan, Chris Conley. There's a great catch in double coverage. Nice job by Murray putting the air under the football, allowing his receiver a chance to locate.
Gurley inside 35. Might be fair to say, too, that Stanley Jean-Baptiste didn't play that beautifully.
No, not at all. But again,
we have talked about Murray, though, and the inability to throw people open a lot of times and seeing it and pulling the trigger. He threw that in there. Either way, I mean, that was a great throw.
Second down and 5 as Gurley's over 100 yards on the day. Both he and Burkhead have had good days. Quick pass out to King. King looking for running room and not finding it. Deontay Evans.
That's a good example of why you have to be so accurate throwing against this defense. If Aaron Murray puts that football out in front of King, he's got an opportunity to take his momentum forward, generate more yards. But you see how quickly Nebraska rallies to the football if it's thrown just an inch behind the receiver. Difference between 3rd and 5 and maybe 3rd and 1 or a first down.
Georgia's 8 of 12 on 3rd down. Last half minute of the 3rd quarter. Gurley breaks a tackle, has the first down. Gurley inside the 25, and he's running tough before Damian Stafford got him.
Talked about the importance of Nebraska tackling in space, and here's P.J. Smith at safety coming up with an opportunity to make a stop on Gurley right there, and he doesn't get it done.
What did Coach Rick tell us yesterday? Gurley's 230 pounds, carried the ball first time in fall practice. Hey, did you ever think about stiff-arming the guy? Not really. I taught him how to stiff-arm this year. I think it works out pretty well for the big fella.
The Bulldog defenders who had to scrimmage against him weren't exactly grateful for Rick's little piece of advice there, and most SEC defenders weren't either, and probably not Nebraska's either. We got a barn burner going, headed to the 4th quarter, all tied at 31. The Capital One Bowl will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
ESPN College Football on ABC.
Ready to start the 4th quarter in Orlando. There's Uga, the most recognizable mascots in all of college football. That's Russ. He's 25 and 11, I believe, as the Georgia mascot. Pure white English bulldog. The Seiler family has bred the dogs to be the mascot for many years for Georgia, and Russ Uga's seeing a good one right now. 31-31 as we start the 4th quarter. As Georgia has it on the move just inside the Nebraska 25. Both Gurley and Marshall are in the game. Gurley's out there in the trips formation. Now Aaron Murray's going to have to run away. Marshall's got a chance to catch it. What a grab by Marshall for the touchdown. 24 yards, and one of the things Georgia wanted to do, use these backs in the passing game, and I think you see why with that catch by Marshall.
Not necessarily designed this way, but good job by Murray extending the play, throwing the back shoulder throw to protect the throw. You don't expect your running back, let alone a lot of receivers, to pluck the ball out of the air the way Keith Marshall just did. Wow.
As Marshall's first career touchdown catch, I hazard to guess that it won't be his last one. The 4th lead change we've had in this game as the Dogs have it. This is a great view of the Marshall catch. Not only the grab, spinning as if he were a ballet master. Kept those feet in bounds, and a great look courtesy of the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam.
And we talked about other guys having to step up with all the injuries and guys out at receiver. We didn't know it was going to be a running back, but Keith Marshall makes a huge play.
These two running backs are something else. And for every SEC defensive coordinator out there that's going to have to at least see these two guys, well, they hope. Georgia hopes for another 2 years in a row. But, I mean, this is going to be a brutal offense to stop as long as these two guys are in the backfield for Georgia.
Well, that'll be, I'll hazard to guess that that'll be all it'll be. 2 years. Running backs have to go because they take a lot of hits. Aaron Murray with his 7th career 300-yard game, 4 touchdowns. Georgia has a 38-31 lead. So Murray holds serve. Now it's Taylor Martinez's turn. Abdullah and Turner deep to return the kickoff for Nebraska. Morgan puts a foot to it. Turner in his end zone thought, oh, he hesitated. Let's see if it cost him. It cost him a hit right in the kisser. And this ended up costing him just a yard. Alec Ogletree was the one who delivered the hit on Turner, and there is a flag down. We'll check that out. We have footballs. And I'm looking to see what the call is. There's a personal foul on Georgia, so it's going to be a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run.
I don't get a ball, so I'm just going to hold this.
Well, I'll let you see this one in a minute. That's a nice new one.
We always know quarterbacks very particular about the footballs they throw. This is the one Aaron Murray's throwing in this game from Georgia. This, however, is the ball Taylor Martinez likes to throw. He likes it very, very worn in. This looks like something Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillips, and Amon Green were toting back in 1995. Every quarterback the day before a game goes through all the footballs and finds the magic seeds that he wants to spin on game day. Taylor Martinez's football, as you can see, looks like it's been around since the 70s.
Burkhead looking for running room. Cutting back, he takes a huge hit. Sanders Cummings was the one that delivered that hit. So what's the difference in terms of quarterback preference if Martinez likes an older football like that? What's he hoping to gain?
I've always felt that footballs that are more worn in are easier to grip and they spin and spiral better, in my opinion. But then again, everybody's
how about worn down?
That's right.
My
this thing's
goodness.
like soft leather.
The paint's gone off of it, for goodness sakes.
Well, the one that Martinez is using, he's used effectively. Good day for Taylor, 13 and 19. Over 185 yards, couple of scores. And now he finds his team down by 7 in the fourth. Burkhead, Ogletree is there. Now Alec Ogletree is starting to assert himself. It'll be 3rd and long.
One key player we have to keep our eye on right now, guys, is right tackle Andrew Rodriguez, who's playing in place of Jeremiah Searles that was injured a few series ago. With Jarvis Jones, with Jordan Jenkins coming off the edge on these critical 3rd downs, the right tackle, that's a place you got to keep your eyes. See if Georgia decides to dial up the heat from that side.
Garrison Smith was pointing.
Ball start. Offense, number 63.
What'd you say?
Penalty, 3rd down.
It's Andrew Rodriguez who is called for the false start. It'll be 3rd and 13.
He's a backup right tackle playing in place of Searles, who is 2nd team all-conference. You got Alex Ogletree. I get it. I mean, you got Ogletree. You got any of these guys coming off the edge. It's tough not to flinch. It's getting loud now, guys, in the stadium.
When you rush Taylor Martinez, you want to get up the field, but you don't want to get too far up the field where he can take off and run, too. Remember, he's lethal running.
Jones, that's a hold on Rodriguez. Let's see what happens in the play. Martinez needs to make sure he doesn't take a big hit because Rodriguez was completely schooled by Jarvis Jones. He just reached out and grabbed him.
Great design by Todd Grantham, understanding where the weakness in this offensive line is right now, putting your best pass rusher on him.
Offense, number 63. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
And it's off the line of scrimmage. Watch. I mean, watch the first step of Jarvis, and he just blows right by Rodriguez. And Rodriguez does a smart thing. You got to tackle him to keep your quarterback alive. And because you hustle and make a play on defense, you don't replay it. You don't have to accept the penalty. 2 big stops in a row for the Georgia defense that looked like they were out of gas a little while ago.
Now, by the way, Rodriguez in the game for Searles, but Searles was in that series at left tackle. That was part of the plan. They're rotating some guys up front for the Cornhuskers. Snap to Maher. He gets it away. McGowan inside his 15. And Rhett stepped out of bounds. Georgia with a 7-point lead and the ball trying to stretch it out a little bit. The Capital One Bowl on ABC. Jarvis Jones today has eclipsed David's record at Georgia for career tackles for loss and sacks. And now the Georgia quarterback is sacked by Joseph Carter. Here is Sackman Jones taking care of the new record at Georgia.
I tell you what, he missed 2 games too. I mean, let's give him some credit. He would have smashed this record by even more if he wouldn't have been out for 2 ball games. That's why he's a future first-round pick. Every big game this year, he's been awesome.
He also played 2 teams that run the triple option with Georgia Southern and Georgia Tech late in the season.
That's amazing to have those kind of numbers when you've really played 9 games this year in terms of a season numbers.
Another tackle by Carter on Gurley. And going back to Jarvis Jones, started his career at USC, suffered a neck injury, and doctors at USC wouldn't clear him to play. It was devastating to him. He's a passionate football player. Got second, third opinions. Mark Richt went with him to some of the medical opinions when he was looking to transfer. He was from Columbus, Georgia. Transferred back to his home state school, and it's worked out well. And this is working out well for the Dogs. Chris Conley is on his way. There goes Conley. 87 yards, and Georgia's got a little breathing room.
A great play call by Mike Bobo, anticipating pressure from Nebraska. 3rd and long, they dial up the slip screen outside. That was the perfect play call for that defense. You're going to see they're going to get a guard out front. They slip guys out. 2 in the second level, and there's nobody home. Chris Conley, 2 huge touchdown catches in this game.
Georgia, among the national leaders, however you want to describe long play categories, in top 5, it plays a 5th year longer, just had their longest play of the season. 87 yards, and the Dogs are up on Nebraska, 45-31. Conley putting it in the house. The Capital One Bowl on ABC. Nebraska has to answer when you come back. Aerial coverage of the Capital One Bowl in beautiful Orlando, brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. You can call 1-800-DirecTV. City of Orlando, the Florida Citrus Sports Group, Capital One, doing a great job hosting this bowl. And Chris Conley, who was heartbroken after catching the final pass in the SEC championship game, a deflected ball, caught it in bounds, allowed time to run out. Georgia wound up 5 yards short of the BCS championship game. And Conley has the big play here, the 87-yard catch from Murray.
Watching this live, I was wondering if this is OPI. You're going to see Lynch here at tight end.
Offensive pass interference.
Yeah, offensive pass interference. Get engaged when the football's in the air, downfield. It's one of those, it was really close. Kind of watching it live, I was just wasn't sure. Certainly,
Murray liked it.
Aaron Murray liked it.
He's thrown for almost 4 bills today. He's pretty excited. I tell you what, though, Nebraska's got Georgia right where they want them. They got Georgia right where they've had Michigan State and Wisconsin and Northwestern. I mean,
Penn State.
They've been clutch all year in these situations. Don't write off Nebraska yet.
This has been the situation where the Cornhuskers have come up large, and there's a lot of time left, and the offense has been explosive. And Taylor Martinez throws it a little bit behind Kenny Bell. Cummings was on the coverage. Robert Flores in the studio.
Hey, Reese, check out what just happened in the Outback Bowl. South Carolina and Michigan. Look at the hit Jadeveon Clowney puts on Vince Smith. Smith loses his helmet and the ball. He's going to cry in the car.
Wow. Clowney believes he can win the Heisman Trophy. They're going to be every offensive player on South Carolina's schedule next year petitioning for him to be able to enter the NFL draft early.
Well, he's a lock.
For sophomore.
He is a lock for the first overall pick.
Well,
and I think
a lot of things can happen if he stays healthy.
He is a lock.
Wow. He's an unbelievable.
For the 2014 NFL draft.
3rd down and 2. Martinez wanted to run the shovel pass. Instead, Taylor's going to run it himself. He's got the first down across the 40. Sorry, Rambo with the stop. Pickup of 10.
And that's unstoppable. I mean, you put Jarvis Jones in a position where you have to take the shovel pass, play the quick down, or take the quarterback, and you kind of just get stuck in no man's land.
Taylor Martinez looks a little ginger getting up after that play. Was kind of hobbling around a little bit. He's going to have tremendous toughness here late in this game.
First down and 10 at the 42.
Burkhead. Rex going to get about 3.
You go back, you'll see at the end of that play, Taylor Martinez getting tackled and getting up. Here he is handling the football. This is just the very last play now. After handing the football off, something's not right now. Here's the tackle where it appeared to get hurt. See him kind of grab that knee a little bit.
affects his mobility. Amir Abdul is checked into the backfield. Martinez keeps it. Turns the corner on Jones into Georgia territory and gets out of bounds. Taylor will have the first down. He looks quick.
He looks all right.
The guy's like RG3. He's like RG3. Even when he's not 100% healthy, he's still out making runs against the Dallas Cowboys this past weekend. Martinez, again, the best athlete on this Nebraska offense because of his speed and his acceleration.
He led the nation in touchdown runs of 70 yards or longer. A few other guys tied with him. He had 3 of them. He had a 92-yarder against UCLA and the great 76-yarder we saw against Wisconsin. Right at the top of our telecast, Burkhead gets inside the 45, picked up a couple.
And I think Todd Grantham now, seeing Martinez run the football a little bit more, I think he's putting a spy on him. Alec Ogletree on that last play was just kind of mirroring Taylor Martinez. Everywhere he went, he was following him.
Martinez is a draw to Burkhead. Burkhead could not run through the tackle of Sean Williams. It's going to be 3rd down.
And you're still not in too much of a hurry. I mean, you don't have to pitch it every single time. You have plenty of time. You can run the football. You've had so much success running it. You don't have to drop back and throw it every time. Probably 2-down territory. So you can get half of it here and then half of it on 4th down.
Burkhead comes to the sideline. Rick exhorting the red and black faithful.
With Georgia on defense, you have to keep Taylor Martinez in the pocket. Do not let him get outside.
Martinez to throw. Caught. We'll see where they're going to give him forward progress is Quincy Enunwa. Enunwa making his first grab.
And really a guy who's
given the first down, Jesse.
Yeah, a guy whose name we haven't really called in this game today. Great possession receiver at 6'2", 215 pounds, kind of a big body, able to shield the defender. Sanders Cummings on this play. And just good job fighting. That's a huge first down.
Looked like Cummings went for the football. Could have swatted it down. Nice job making a play.
Officials resetting the clock.
7:58, 7:58.
Well, 7:58 on the clock. And Enunwa went out of bounds.
You know, we talked about Nebraska being a better second-half offense throughout the course of the year. They only have 7 points in the second half. The very first possession of the half, Georgia's defense has really tightened up.
The clock also stopping, of course, to move the chains for the first down as it does in college football. And Searles comes out of his stance in slow motion, too.
False start. Offense. Number 71. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And what's kind of happened with those stops you're talking about Georgia, too, is Nebraska's had more penalties. They've committed some offsides penalties, and the right tackle spot in particular, that's 2. That wasn't even Jarvis on there.
Well, it was Jordan Jenkins who's going to be close to Jarvis.
Never-ending supply.
Now Jarvis is up there at the top of the screen over the right side. There's a tight end, Kyler Reed, lined up on that side now as well. Ogletree's out there with him. Here comes Alec. He beat a man. Martinez firing deep, and it's picked off. Damian Swan has it again. Swan with his interception the second time today, and the Georgia defense forces the 3rd turnover from the Nebraska offense, and now the Huskers are in some trouble.
The pressure forced a bad throw by Taylor Martinez. Top of the screen, you're going to see Jarvis Jones inside. Ogletree on the outside, though. That's not a good matchup, having Rex Burkhead blocking him one-on-one. It's a nice step up by Martinez, but he doesn't get enough on the football. Swan able to make up ground, make the pick.
Well, how many times have we bragged on his mechanics of changing, and then you see him throw that football off of his back foot, just floating it up there. Bad pass.
Damian Swan has had a big day in the Georgia secondary. Swan's picked off a couple of passes. He just took one from Taylor Martinez a moment ago, one that perhaps had a little more juice on it. Could have been a touchdown for the Huskers, but as it is, the Bulldogs have it back. Todd Gurley picks up maybe one. And after Martinez threw the interception, he and Sean Williams getting together and wishing each other Happy New Year. How's the family?
Sean Williams, a very passionate player. I'll tell you what,
I love Taylor Martinez there.
I give him a lot of credit.
He ain't backing down.
No, he's not.
I tell you what, he's a fighter, man. I mean, he took a lot of shots from everybody last year about his throwing motion and how bad he was throwing the football, and he's bounced back. And I mean, to go to a private coach this offseason and refine yourself when everybody else is kind of just chilling in the offseason, you got to give him a lot of credit for the turnaround he's had.
Now he's hoping to get a chance to lead another fourth quarter rally. It's been a hallmark of this Nebraska team. 3rd and long coming.
A big message by Mark Richt to his team all bowl season was finish. Something they haven't been able to do the last several years. They've lost 2 bowl games in a row last year, finished with 2 straight losses in the SEC title game, and then in their bowl game against Michigan State. Big for them now in the fourth quarter with the lead. Finish, carry momentum into the offseason.
Look for the same type screen you saw a second ago with man-to-man coverage.
Murray is 9 of 12 on 3rd down today. Make it 10 of 13 and another first down. Tavares King.
Aaron Murray's biggest improvements as a passer this year has been his downfield passing. Not just the accuracy on posts and go throws, but the back shoulder throws. We saw one to Keith Marshall for a touchdown. I mean, this is an NFL, big league, back shoulder throw to the wide side of the field. It does not get any better than that.
And Aaron Murray has thrown for more than 400 yards against the nation's #1 ranked pass defense and the 574 yards that Georgia has put on Nebraska today as a Capital One Bowl record. The Dogs might not be finished. Early short game.
You're seeing the game Aaron Murray's having today against what was statistically the best pass defense in college football. The question becomes, spinning it forward, will Aaron Murray be back next year? Is he a guy that decides he wants to come out into the NFL draft? We've had a game like this. You know, this will be a very difficult decision, I think, for him and his family this offseason.
Especially once you start looking at the class. There's not a definitive #1 guy in most people's opinion. Now, Tony Dungy's opinion might be a little bit different. Look what he said there. I mean, so if I'm the Chiefs, I take him with the 1st or 2nd pick in the draft.
Overall.
Yeah, not the 1st or 2nd round.
Early with a short gain. Another 3rd down as we're inside 5 minutes to go. Nebraska desperately needs to get off the field on 3rd down. So I'll ask your opinion, Jesse, is you look at what Aaron Murray has done. Peyton Manning didn't do it. Eli Manning didn't do it. Danny Werfel didn't do it. No quarterback in SEC history's had 3,000-yard passing seasons as Murray has. Should he come back, or is it time to go to the NFL?
I think he should come back, having played the position. I always think you can never get enough snaps collegiately to prepare yourself for the next level. Now, I wasn't in the position Aaron Murray might be coming up here to make serious money if he comes out.
Murray to throw again. It's down the middle. It's complete. It's another first down. He has been money.
And I think,
speaking of money, on 3rd down, Justin Scott Wesley makes it.
And I think you look at the class next year. Who's he coming out against? Teddy Bridgewater, maybe of Louisville. Logan Thomas.
A.J. McCarron.
A.J. McCarron. Keith Price, Washington. Braxton Miller, does he maybe come out? I mean, you have to forecast that. Those are all little things that Aaron Murray's going to have to think about when trying to project when it's right to come out.
Well, and I think in the bottom line grand scheme of things, what's important to you? Do you want to go back to college? You'll never get that time back again. You know, I mean, this is the most fun time you're going to have. The NFL can wait. You always have the injury risk, but what do you want to accomplish? Do you want to win a championship? What's important to you?
Gurley with a short game.
Every answer is different, I think, too, because I think some people come up in households in different situations where they need money. They need money for their family. They want to go take advantage of it. That's not the wrong answer.
And let's not forget, for a quarterback now who's lost 2 consecutive SEC title games, you look at what this team has coming back next year on offense. The whole offensive line comes back. Malcolm Mitchell will play receiver solely, we think. Michael Bennett comes back.
Gershel.
The tight ends come back. You got Gershel. I mean, this could be one of the most prolific, again, offenses in Georgia history. And they're going to lose a lot of guys on defense, but they are very talented with backups and freshmen. I mean, this is a team that could compete for the national championship if he decides to return.
Flag is down. Murray's looking downfield. He throws it away. It was Jay Rome out there. We'll see what the penalty is. The other thing, Murray has been criticized about his performance in big games. Prior to this, when he was 0-2 in the SEC championship game, also 0-2 in bowl games, having lost last year in triple overtime to Michigan State.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 men in the backfield. That penalty's declined, third down.
Lost the previous year to UCF. Georgia wound up with a losing record. But he performed very well, especially in the final drive against Alabama. Numbers were fairly pedestrian until that final drive. He performed great here today. So he's eliminated a lot of those criticisms, I would think. It remains to be seen what his decision will be. As Gurley is going to be stopped on third down. It'll be fourth down.
But I will say that's one thing too, Reese, that you could come back next year and completely erase.
That's true.
I mean, you could absolutely say, I came back, this is what I did against big-time opponents, and this is my changed resume.
Look at their schedule next year, guys. They're going to play at Clemson, South Carolina, and LSU at home. There are some big game opportunities for him.
It's 3 out of the first 4 weeks.
240 away from a win in the Capital One Bowl.
Do you not kick a field goal here?
I think they're up 2 scores. Don't want to get it blocked and get a cheap one. They're also going to let Murray try to throw another touchdown pass to Tavares King, and King doesn't. And he throws the football in disgust against the stands. Thinks he should have had that one.
And another dime drop by Aaron Murray. And tight coverage, one-on-one outside. And that's generally a play Tavares King will make. Man, that's a perfect throw.
You got to catch that.
That's unbelievable.
That ball needs to be caught. And it's frustrating for it'd be a great way for King to have ended his Georgia career, man who's played more in the red and black and in those silver breeches that the Dogs wear than any other player in Georgia history. And a good leader for them, and he's going to go out, it would appear, barring yet another miracle from Team Magic and the Huskers, and go out with a bowl victory. 2:33 left. Nebraska down by 2 scores, 2 timeouts to go. They've got to move quickly. Martinez, he always moves quickly. He'll go out of bounds, and there's Sean Williams again. Those 2 guys have been going at it. We saw after the interception them going at it. They went at it earlier, too, on a run. They've been jawing and mixing it up.
It's not a flag to hit a quarterback in bounds. You're allowed to do that.
And that's on Taylor Martinez because he lets up. I mean, Martinez needs to know there's a defender bearing down on him. You got to scoot and get out of bounds. Help protect yourself. That's a clean play. Can't believe I just said that.
I'm glad to hear you come around a little bit, though.
You doing all right?
The season with me will do that to you a little bit.
A little bit. Will wear off on me. Well, we talked about what Georgia has coming back next year. You know, Nebraska offensively has a lot of explosive playmakers coming back, too. Not just Team Magic. 3 offensive linemen, Amir Abdullah, your top 3 receivers.
And defensively.
And firing is incomplete. He was looking for Jamal Turner. The other thing that Nebraska, despite losing a ton of guys on defense, they have 4 defensive linemen that Bo Pelini told us yesterday that he redshirted and in some ways perhaps regrets that decision. One thing we haven't mentioned that we probably should have is the absence of Baker Steinkuhler, who was their best defensive lineman. You see Chase Rome, who's played a lot today, but Rome left the team, had a little personal issue in the middle of the season, so they had some depth problems on the defensive line, and Bo was saying, hey, they had it to do over again. Maybe he just lets those young defensive linemen get a little experience, but they are very talented, so they expect some improvement up front on defense next year when they get an influx of talent. There is Baker Steinkuhler, number 55 of the great Steinkuhler family in Nebraska.
Consider their schedule next year. I mean, their crossover games are against Purdue and Illinois, not Ohio State and Wisconsin like this year.
Martinez, Jarvis Jones almost had himself an interception to wrap up his Georgia career, likely. I mean, Jarvis in theory to come back.
He would have been a first-round draft pick last year, and he decided to stay, along with a lot of other guys, like Bakari Rambo at the safety spot, along with Big Jenkins at the nose tackle spot. They decided to stay, and he doesn't have anything less to prove in the college game. Can he come back and dominate again? Absolutely.
He's broken your record already.
Yeah.
That's over with.
Once you do that,
I'll tell you what, man.
Time to go get the big bucks.
Because no one else could. Think of all the great pass rushers that came out of Georgia.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
said it a few times today. The guy in on the tackle may be the next one for him, number 59. Keep an eye on him. Jordan Jenkins, a freshman from Hamilton, Georgia.
We'll talk about some of those backup players now that are going to make impressions next year. Connor Norman at safety, Josh Harvey Clemens, Corey Moore. We got a really good young cornerback in Sheldon Dawson, Ramik Wilson, Jordan Jenkins, two guys at linebacker. They got a nose tackle on John Taylor. It's 335 pounds. Who's redshirting. I mean, Mark Richt has recruited defense.
But Georgia's going to finish this thing off, but an SEC Big Ten battle going down to the wire in the Outback Bowl as we check in with Robert Flores.
Yeah, that's right, Reese. Michigan goes on top. Devin Gardner to Jeremy Gallen. Second time that combo has worked. But South Carolina has the ball. They're in plus territory. 33 seconds to go on ESPN. Down by 1.
You know, for all of the criticism that the Big Ten, I'm not going to say taken, that they earned in the non-conference season, the Big Ten has shown up in the bowl season today. Now, Nebraska's not going to win this game, but they certainly fought Georgia to the end. Georgia had to play very well offensively late to stretch his score out.
It's been a good bowl season for them. You know, Minnesota played Texas Tech hard.
Yeah.
Michigan State beat TCU. The big one tonight, though, Rose Bowl. They've won one Rose Bowl since 2001, has the Big Ten. They can win tonight. I'll tell you what, that is huge.
Martinez, there's Williams, his buddy, who got a big shot on him, and Bakari Rambo caught the ball. Did he stay in bounds? Sean Williams is the guy he's been going back and forth with, David, and he got a free shot on Martinez.
He's been talking all game. Martinez and him got tangled up a little bit on the interception. He was happy to deliver that blow. Martinez wasn't. Martinez, look at it pop back up, though. He pops right back up after taking that shot.
Okay, so Martinez, there's no questioning that kid's toughness. As Rambo didn't hold on to it, so it's going to be 4th down and 9. Either that or didn't stay in bounds. At any rate, Nebraska has one more opportunity. Jones is after him. And Jones, who led the nation in forced fumbles, and Martinez, who led the nation in fumbles. That stat matchup hasn't really materialized today.
Prior to the snap, Georgia takes its 3rd and final time out of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Well, there's still 1:09 to go, and Georgia wants to make sure they don't give up, don't have a bust, give up a quick touchdown, because then you give the Huskers a chance for the onside kick and a chance to perhaps make another run at the game. We had some great shots today, courtesy of the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. There is Aaron Murray, who set a Capital One Bowl record, throwing for 427 yards and 5 touchdowns.
We said right at the beginning of the game, his accuracy was going to get tested against a defense that was allowing quarterbacks to complete 46% of their throws. Aaron Murray, for the most part today, has been unbelievable. He's been unconscious throwing the football, and that's why he's the Capital One player of the game.
Capital One Bowl record with those 5 touchdowns. Aaron Murray, 427 yards and the 5 scores, both tying career high. Standout quarterback from the Dogs, and if Tavares King had held on to that last pass down there, he'd have 6 handful of yards as well. So Nebraska has to get it to the 35 to keep this game alive. Jarvis Jones after Martinez, but Ogletree's got him, and that's going to do it. Alec Ogletree making the play, and the Georgia defense maligned many times this season, gutted oftentimes today, came up large in the latter stages of the second half, eventually overpowering Nebraska.
Love this defense. Here's Ogletree. He's going to start inside, then loop in. He's going to confuse the lineman, finds himself a crease. There's Jarvis Jones, too. I mean, again, Ogletree, Jones, there's Jenkins. I mean, the pass rushers on this team are ridiculous. I mean, take your pick who wants to make a sack.
Jarvis should have had a JOP, jump on the pile, and get half a sack out of that deal if he could. Georgia with 5 sacks of Martinez on the day, and now they're lining up in victory formation. This will be just the 3rd time in Georgia's storied football history that they've won 12 games. Vince Dooley's 1980 national champions did it. Mark Richt did it back in 02, and now they have a chance in 51 seconds to record their 3rd 12-win season. And oh, boy, now that was a complete dunking.
The thing I always look for,
the baptism.
Do you know how many times coaches get drilled with the Gatorade bucket in their head?
Yeah, the top of the handle.
It's like you gotta watch. It's not just cold Gatorade bath. Like you also get that plastic in your forehead, in your dome piece.
Remember how happy Saban was in the championship game a couple years ago?
Not.
He was like, seriously, learn how to do it if you're gonna do it. All right, guys.
The big D linemen or tight ends should do it because you get the angle better. These little guys hit you right in the head.
We wondered about the motivation for the Dogs after suffering the heartbreak at the hands of Alabama, but they responded well, as did Nebraska after having the psyche bruised in the Big Ten championship game. The loss to Wisconsin 70-31, and certainly Nebraska has some issues to fix on defense, but Bo Pelini, the guy to do it. And the Cornhuskers will wind up 10-4 on the season after Georgia wins the Capital One Bowl 45-31. Don't forget, the trophy ceremony will be on ESPN3. The Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio's coming up on ESPN in just a few moments. And there is Jarvis Jones, who perhaps has wrapped up his Georgia career. Samantha Ponder's on the field right now with Aaron Murray.
Yes, a very happy Aaron Murray. Aaron, I saw you, even after some early difficulties, still stayed upbeat. What was your mindset coming into this one?
I mean, it's a 60-minute game. Our previous 2 bowl games, first one went down to the last drive. Last year was triple overtime, so we knew we just got to stay focused, keep working hard the whole game, and just so proud of these guys. Proud of our senior class. They did an unbelievable job this whole year. Coming off such
an emotional game in the SEC championship, what do you think it says about this team, the way they came out and fought today?
Like I said, it has to do with our seniors. They've done an unbelievable job this whole offseason, whole summer camp, this whole season of just being great leaders, keeping our guys focused. So like I said, I got to give all the credit in the world to them. They're a special group of guys.
Now, we even saw Tony Dungy tweeting that he thought that the Kansas City Chiefs should take you with their first pick. I know, obviously, you have a decision to make. What goes into that decision for you?
A lot of talk with my parents. They're definitely them. I know they have my best interests at hand. And the coaching staff, I'll talk to them. But that's something I'm going to, sit down next couple of days and figure that out. So,
like 2 more days, you'll tell us?
No, probably next week or so.
All right, sounds good. Congratulations. Go enjoy this win, Aaron.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
And Sam,
yes.
Aaron Murray was tremendous, for sure. He led a Georgia offense that set school records, number of touchdowns scored, yards, points. And Georgia finishes off its third 12-win season with a victory over Nebraska in the Capital One Bowl. Our final score, Georgia 45, Nebraska 31. ESPN3 has the trophy ceremony from the Capital One Bowl. The Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio is coming up on ESPN. For our entire crew, David Pollack, Jesse Palmer, Sam Ponder, I'm Reese Davis. We'll see you.